In the past 2 years, we grew a personal brand of more than 400,000 followers and scaled our business to 6 figures per month. Not only that, but we did it over and over again for other founders, coaches, and entrepreneurs just like us, that thanks to the system that we are going to break down in this video, we're able to grow hundreds of thousands of followers, get millions of views, become household names in their industry, and even more importantly, scale their businesses all while spending $0 on acquisition thanks to the power of organic content. For the first time ever, we decided to share publicly in one single video this entire system. So sit tight, get ready to take notes, and let's get into it.
All right, guys, welcome again. We're gonna lead this presentation by giving you a quick overview of everything that we're gonna cover in these 2 days together. So day one, which is today, the first thing that we're gonna talk about is how we're currently using AI to create an entire month of content in just a few hours. Some of you guys already here are very big on AI, using it to create your content. Some of you guys might be completely new to this, right? So we're gonna explore exactly the tools that we use, how we use them, and yeah, how you can save a ton of time by doing so. Second thing is going to be how to build an Instagram profile that actually converts. So I want you guys to realize that getting views and getting actual money for your business are two very different things, right? You need to learn how to do both, and we're gonna talk about that. The third thing will be how to attract your dream clients with your content and how to stop attracting unqualified leads. We talk about this a lot with our own students, but also in our content. As I said before, two very different things. So we're gonna go super in depth in exactly how to create the type of content that would actually grow your business, okay? So then we're gonna go with the three content strategies that will get you instant return on investment, okay? So there's a ton of things that you can do with your personal brand, with your content, 1,000 things. But there are 3 things that we identified that are going to give an instant return investment. Then we're going to talk on how we can turn the views that we're gonna get with the content into cash flow for the business. And finally, there's gonna be 6 limiting beliefs that we removed to become one of the biggest personal brands in our industry in just 2 years, right? As I said before, also with the return on investment, the 3 content strategies. Also when it comes to the limiting beliefs, we have some things that we're gonna go over. Actually, Alyssa is gonna tell you about those, which is the 6 things that single-handedly completely change the way we see business, we see life in general, and in general allow us to grow super, super fast as a business and as a personal brand. On day 2, instead, which is going to be tomorrow, it's going to be super, super in-depth about you guys, okay? So I want you to see day number 1 a little bit more like theory. Of course, we're gonna go into some applicable things, but we're actually gonna use the entire day to pick some of you guys, and it's going to be one-on-one profiles and content analysis, okay? So we're gonna take everything that we learned today and actually apply to your guys' personal brands, okay? So you guys can walk away from these 2 days with some applicable steps that you guys can follow to start getting results. Sounds good? Let me start by talking about the AI content strategy that we're currently using, okay? So if you're here, you probably know how powerful content can be. I mean, this is our page, Create Content Club. This is Noshin. As you can see, we were both able to build significant audiences in here, and that, of course, translated into business for us. And yeah, single-handedly, this completely changed our life. Okay. Now, the problem is that a lot of you guys is that content takes a ton of time when you don't have the right systems. Okay. So we spent literally the last year building a new way of making content. Okay. A content where we're leveraging AI to be able to create, thousands and thousands of posts, but with a fraction of time, okay? So like just 1-2 years ago when we first started, I remember just by creating one piece of content, we had to put all of our focus, ton of hours just to be able to put out one piece of content. Now we have tools out there that we need to use, okay? I don't know you guys, if you see AI as the best thing ever, the worst thing ever. I know there's like different opinions on it, but there's something that you cannot have an opinion on, which is like AI is here, okay? So you can either use it or not use it, and probably the people that use it will surpass you, okay? So you're gonna see exactly how we use it to build our personal brand up to 460,000 followers. And also as a consequence, build a 6-figure per month business with 0 cost of acquisition, okay? So we said it before, we're not just here to get some views, we're also here to be able to get payments just like this from our content and actually grow our business, okay? And also the same exact system, I mean, you recognize Noshin here, You probably can see his face here. There's a few clients that we have also currently in our program, and all these personal brands that we grew pretty much completely from zero are all using the same system. So it works, okay? All right, so this is our personal brand AI accelerator. These are the three main tools that we're gonna use, and I'm gonna explain to you step by step how to use each one of these, okay? So, as I was saying before, content takes too much time, yes, when you don't have clear systems. So, we systemize the three key phases of content creation, and each one of these tools will be responsible to fixing this. The first one is finding content ideas. The second one is going to be scripting. And the third one is going to be building your setup when it comes to the filming, okay? So let's start by step number one, which is going to be actually finding content ideas. Now, before I get into the nitty and gritty of how exactly to do it, I know some people here are actually new to content creation. You guys may want to take it more seriously this year. So I just want to give a quick introduction of why are we finding content ideas in the first place, right? Why don't we just sit down, have a piece of paper in front of us, and just start putting some ideas down? The tricky thing about content creation is the word itself, right? You guys are thinking about it as a creative task, and as a consequence, you're not seeing it as something that you can extract data from and use it to your advantage. I always like to use this example with our clients, which is like, okay, let's say that you want to build a business and you want to use something like search engine optimization to be able to do that, okay? What are you guys going to do? You're going to go on Google, you're going to see the main keywords and questions that people ask, and you will write articles around it to be able to appear as one of the first one at top, right? You would actually see what people are looking for on Google or whatever, like a search browser, and then you would position yourself there, okay? Because you're not trying to guess where the attention already is. No, you're just positioning you where the attention already is. And the same thing is doing market research and content ideas. Why would you try and figure it out without any type of data what your ideal customer, what your ideal audience is looking for? Because if you do it correctly and if you do market research in the right way, you can literally spot the exact question, the exact burning problems, the exact solutions that your audience is looking for, and then create content around that, right? It's like you guys need to see your personal brand as, this is my expertise, this is where attention already is, I'm going to position myself in the middle of that. It's an intersection, right? So doing market research allows us to spot exactly where the attention is. And there's no guesswork in this, because social media is a social platform. You guys can see exactly where the attention already is and position yourself in there, okay? So you're entering a competitive market where successful creators already exist. So you need to learn from what already works. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're trying to analyze what's currently working and use it as inspiration, okay? So there's different ways of doing this, okay? This is step one, and then I'm going to tell you how we're going to use a very specific tool to be able to spot exactly the best ideas for your personal brand. I need you to train your algorithm. What does training your algorithm means? I want you guys to realize that right now, platforms like Instagram, TikTok, all these different social media have the most advanced AI algorithms in the world. Like a few years back, to make people understand what you were looking for, you had to put hashtags, like hashtags communication, right? And then the algorithm is like, oh, okay, it's actually about communication, I get it. Now, guys, I need you to realize that the algorithm is able to analyze frame by frame of the video you're creating, and they know exactly who is it for. They know exactly what you're talking about. They know how you look like. Have you guys ever realized, if you like, let's say they show you a topic for the first time. You like the video, you scroll, and there's another video about the same topic. Has it ever happened to you guys? Yeah. Realize how fast the algorithm is nowadays. It's crazy, right? It doesn't need our hashtags to know what's going on. No, it's so advanced that in a fraction of a second, they know exactly what to show us right after, okay? So if you're able to train your algorithm, you can use it to your advantage. Because imagine, this is Create Content Club, our page. It's pretty clear that we see a ton of things about content, okay, and how to grow an audience. 100K followers, Instagram strategy, this is a hook, stop trying to get views. It's perfectly tailored around our industry. And I want you to do this exercise later. I want you to open your phone, and go into your Explore page of Instagram and see what kind of videos do you see there. Are they aligned to your offer? Are they on your same niche? If your algorithm is not trained, you're doing something wrong because you're not leveraging what this platform is made for, which is recommend to you, right? The things that you're interested in, and you're not leveraging, okay? So the first thing that you guys need to do is you need to search on Instagram and on TikTok for things that are perfectly in your niche and are super aligned with your offer and what you do, okay? So this will be different from each one of you. But if you guys don't open your page, your Explore page, and you don't see something like this for your own audience, for your own offer, we need to change this, okay? And the way to change it is by interacting with these videos, liking it, saving it. You can click a little button that says interested in it and making the algorithm exactly understand what it is that you want more of. And super, super important, you need to follow creators in your niche that are already crushing it, okay? Just like the SEO examples that I was saying before, where you can see the websites that are getting the most traffic. You can do the same for creators, okay? Follow them and make the algorithm understand that you're liking their content and you like what they're creating content on, okay? So learn from what already works. Now, after you've done that, I want you to install this Chrome extension, which is called SortFeed, okay? You can see it right there. Now, what SortFeed does, and I can show you in just a fraction of a second, is that you're able to open whatever page of your competitors that you found in the previous step, and you can filter them by views, comments, likes. We always recommend going on views, okay? And you can select how many of these items you want to select, right? So it's going to scan in this example. If I would click views, it would scan the latest 100 items of this profile and reorder them based on views. So what does this do? We're leveraging this tool to be able to waste no time and finding exactly the winning marketing angles that these personal brands use to get the attention of our dream customer, okay? So let me show you just 1 second live how that will look like. We can simply go, yeah. This is our profile. So make sure that you guys select the Reels tab right here or it wouldn't work. And then in the top right, there's the SortFeed extension. I always recommend you guys either go for 50 or 100 items, which is simply videos. Why not more? Why not less? Simply because less, you might not have enough data. And if you do more than that, though, you're going to start going into the territory of like 3, 4, 5 months ago of posting. And the algorithm, if you guys didn't notice yet, it's very fast nowadays. Right? It changes very, very fast. So if you take ideas from like 4 months ago, it's less likely that it's going to work for your personal brand. Okay? So if we click on views, you can see live what it's going to do. It's going to go through all of our videos that we posted, the last 100, and it's going to scrape exactly the amount of views that it got. And then it's going to reorder the, let's say, the Reels tab. So we don't see it based on the order where they got posted. We see based on the views that we got in these videos. Okay? Like you see how fast that was? And now we have literally 100 videos in order of, in this case, us, but it would be, let's say, a competitor, someone else in your same niche. And you can see one by one what are the marketing angles, the problems, the solutions that your audience is already looking for. You understand how powerful this is, guys? Like, if you use data in the right way, there's no guesswork in like, oh, what should I make content about? Like, there's creators out there posting thousands of videos around your same expertise, and they already did the testing for you, right? Why would you put out 100 videos without knowing what works, what doesn't? You can use data and extract what are the angles that are currently working in your audience and use that to your advantage. Okay? This is what I want you guys to do because it's going to save you so much time. Now, before you take an idea, I need you to understand how to use it correctly. Okay? We're not copying something because it's viral. That would be completely wrong. Why? Because, first of all, are you asking, does this serve my personal brand in the first place? Are you asking yourself if it's attracting the right audience? Because sure, something can get a lot of views, but you need to make sure that it's aligned to your personal brand, your offer, and what it is that you do. So if you ask yourself this question, you're going to be able to truly understand if it's something that serves you or deserves you, okay? And two quick things. Sorry, if you can go 1 second back. No, actually, the two questions, yeah. How do you actually verify this? there's a very clear way of doing it, and it's going to take you a second. When it comes to, does this in my personal brand, does it attract the right audience? When you open the videos, and you see the videos that have the most amount of views and the most amount of engagement, if you click on the comment section, and you open the entire comments, you can see who's actually interacting with these pieces of content. Because a lot of people don't think that. They think, oh, this video got 100,000 views in my niche. Let me just take that idea. Are you verifying who those 100,000 people that watch that video are? Because if they're not in target with who you help and what it is that you do, it's not actually going to be a content idea that serves your personal brand. Okay? So what you guys can do is open the comment section, and you can see literally the exact profiles that are commenting on these videos, right? And if you do that, you can make sure that that piece of content actually attracted the type of people that you would like to attract to, okay? So super quick exercise, but it works great. Step 2, scripting, okay? So we found a viral idea. We found an idea that has been proven to work in our niche. How do we actually use AI to be able to write a piece of content that can work, but more importantly, that sounds like you? Because the problem with AI, like if you open ChatGPT right now and you're like, oh, write for me a script on this topic, it's not going to sound like you at all, right? You can clearly tell it's AI, and more importantly, people on social media can tell it's AI, okay? Like everyone here has access to ChatGPT. So we're becoming so good at spotting, right? We were making a video with Charlie about this. If you see an M dash, right, on your script or a LinkedIn post, right, it's ChatGPT, right? And mentally, your brain is starting to get trained on scrolling the second you see this. Maybe you guys are not realizing it, but we're so good at spotting what's AI right now that our brain just disconnects when you see that. You know those kind of like, but the truth is, people think this, but like there's certain patterns that AI just use over and over again, and our brain is becoming so good at spotting it. So you have to still use AI because it gives you so much leverage, but you need to learn how to use it in the right way, okay? And the other thing that a lot of people, like the objection that they have about using AI is, how could it possibly replicate my expertise? I mean, I've been doing this for years, maybe even decades. How can AI knows what kind of value I would provide here, right? Well, now it can. So you can now feed AI your own expertise so that it thinks just like you, okay? So I'm gonna show you exactly how we're gonna do that. And the way what you can do, what you can feed it is literally everything. Other short form videos that you created in the past, long form videos, documents. Like many of our clients also wrote books. You can literally feed it books in there, okay? SOPs, so procedures. Everything you want, you can literally fit it inside of this AI so they know exactly how you think and what is the knowledge that you built in all these years, right? So this is just the first part, by the way. This is the interface and how it looks like of the tool that we use. I'm going to show you in a second like the actual live view from the screen. But I'm also going to tell you what else we're going to add to this board to be able to make it perform as well as possible, okay? So once we found an idea and we train our algorithm on our knowledge base right here, as you can see, we are able to paste this video inside of Poppy AI, which by the way is a software that we're using if you guys want to write it down. We can write a video that has been proven to work, linking it to our board, and it's going to extract exactly what made it work, okay? So we actually train our Poppy board to our knowledge, the same knowledge that we use for the last 2 years of creating content. So it's going to be able to extract the hook, the format, the structure, the duration, but more importantly, because it's trained on our knowledge, it's able to reverse engineer each one of these parts, each one of these sections, so it doesn't just tell you this is the hook, it tells you this is the hook and this is the reason why it worked, okay? So not only you're leveraging that, you can also learn with it as you use it, okay? Because, as I was saying before, we fitted 2 years of content knowledge. This is a full CCC viral scripting framework, our complete guide, after getting more than, I think at this point, close to 1 billion views that we got throughout like us and our clients. So everything that we learned is inside of this document. And that way, and by the way, I'm going to give you guys access to it so you can actually leverage to the max this board. So I'm not just like telling you, oh, what's cool, and then you don't know how to actually use it. Don't worry about that. But we're gonna feed it into it so it has our same knowledge about content creation, okay? So from here, we'll give it a simple prompt. If you guys wanna take like a quick picture, that would be great, because this is the exact prompt that we're actually using it right now. And basically is asking them to analyze the viral video following our same exact structure. And then I'm gonna show you in a second what specific question it's going to ask us to then rewrite it with our own tone of voice and with our own value, okay? So before writing the script, the AI will ask you two very simple questions, but they're so essential. The first one is, how do you want to change the value, okay? So I want you guys to realize this. When we're using AI, it's extracting the structure, the skeleton of the video that made it work, but then in here, like in the original video, the creator will have shared his value, okay, or her value, like what they believe is the solution to that problem. Now, this AI will ask you, how do you want to change the value? Because something that I notice more and more is like someone goes viral with a video, there's a creator out there, I'm not kidding, that just takes the script word by word and repeats it. What kind of branding do you think that creates? Especially when the original creator spots you, which happens, okay? We've seen it over and over again. What kind of personal brand do you think that builds? Oh, you get something that works, you just repeat stuff word by word. Okay, maybe that video works. The second they figured out that you just stole it from someone else, it's over, right? So that's why the first question is, how do you want to change the value? So it's going to extract the original skeleton structure of the video, but then it's going to fill it in with the value that you're going to provide to the AI, okay? And if you guys link the knowledge base, like your books, your SOPs, your documents, your previous content, it can do this automatically for you too, okay? But I always want you to check it, okay? Because AI makes us go faster, but it cannot make us be lazy, okay? Because like you guys are trying to convince someone to look at your content, at your video, and getting value from it. If you're not even spending like 5-10 minutes to review the value that you're providing to these people, what are we even doing, right? And then how do we want to change the call to action? So the call to action is super important because we're capturing someone's attention. We're maintaining it throughout all the video. If we do not prompt them to do something, they won't do anything, okay? This could be following you. This could be commenting a specific keyword to receive a resource from you, okay? But we want to maintain the structure and then change the call to action based on the outcome that we want to get from that video. It can be as simple as following, yeah?
The way that this is presented here means that it's mainly the structure
Yes.
that provides the reality of the thing.
That is correct.
You wanted it?
Yeah, that is correct.
Because what does it mean with you reviewing that? It's mainly the structure of the video.
Yeah. 100%.
In terms of the outline.
Yeah. So when it comes to the structure, basically every single video, like you can extract a skeleton and actually the AI would do it for you. But I want you to imagine it will be something like a hook, which is like what allows you to get the attention. And then it's like, how is the value split? It's like, is it 3 steps? So it's a listicle? Is it more of a storytelling framework? There's so many ways of giving value. There's like 1,000 different structures. Of course, here we cannot like, we wouldn't really have the time to do it. But it's basically, yeah, reverse engineers the way they grab someone's attention, they deliver the value, and then how they use the call to action at the end, okay? Perfect. Okay, so when you use this system, you have a script that is ready to go. Because there's no guessing, there's not trying to put thoughts together, because the structure, again, will be taken from the original video. And it's using proven frameworks that are turning into ready-to-record script, okay? So imagine doing this for dozens and dozens of videos. And like everything in AI, the more you use it, the more it's going to learn how you think, how you want things. So it's going to become more and more precise, okay? So I want to show you just super quickly, Ali, if you can open the Poppy. This is just how it looks like, okay? So you guys actually see that it's something like real that you can use. This is the knowledge base. We quickly just inserted a few of our videos here. You definitely want to introduce like way more, like your SOP, books if you have them, articles. You can like export your latest like 30 emails from your newsletter. It can be LinkedIn content, YouTube videos, whatever you want. It's great. It's a great software because you can just copy and paste things, and it's just gonna they're just gonna store them. Okay. Then here at the top is our CCC VAR scripting framework that I was telling you. So it's able to think exactly like we think, okay, and actually follow all the frameworks that we use to, go viral, get clients successfully. And then at the bottom here is where you would copy and paste your reference video, and you would then link it to the board, okay. I left here these 2 questions so you see how it actually works once you linked something. So this is the message that you would get after, for example, we linked something in the fitness space and we said like, oh, I want to work on this video. So it's going to analyze exactly why it works. And then it asks you this: how do you want to change the value? Do you want to keep it about exercise variation, shift to a different fitness topic? So it's also making you think a little bit on how you could shift the value. And then how do you want to change the call to action? What research do you want to promote? What keywords do you want people to comment to get it? Or if it's a simple follow CTA. Okay, so it's analyzing the entire video, extracting what made it work, and then asking you these 2 specific questions. So it's going to sound like you. It's going to have your own knowledge base, so actual information that you would give to a client, but made with a structure that has been proven to work, right? Do you see, guys, how this completely removes guesswork? Because if you guys need to write a script and you just have a blank piece of paper in front of you every single time you need to, that's when you're not consistent with content creation because you don't have the systems. Yes?
Quick question. Within Poppy AI,
yeah.
do you answer those questions directly?
In the chat.
Got it.
In the chat. Yeah, and that's actually perfect because now it's also learning from the way you interact with the chatbot, right? All right. And then step 3, filming. Now, filming, you're probably thinking, yeah, sorry.
Just a question as well. And is this a tool that you can use across social media? Because I mainly use LinkedIn.
100%. So is able to analyze any single type of post. So like tweets, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, everything. Yeah. Okay. Any other question that? Yeah. Yeah. So the SortFeed doesn't on LinkedIn.
There's another extension we can.
There's another extension for that. We can talk about it later. Yeah, of course. All right. So step 3, filming. You're probably thinking, how are you going to use AI for filming? Now, there's actually a few people in here that just to make you understand how far AI can go. There's people in this room that built a successful business just using AI clones. That's the thing now. We're not going to talk about it in this specific presentation. Nicola, you can host the mastermind in the future, and you can go super in depth on this. We're actually going to tell you how we use AI to be able to build a perfect setup for you guys based on what it is that you have at your disposal, okay? So just super quickly, why is this important in the first place? I can provide information, and I can be in a dark room with a messy background with my bed, which I didn't really thought about making pretty before, some clothes behind. And Alicia, on the other hand, can have a super pretty setup with nice lighting and provide the same exact piece of information. Who are you going to take more seriously, right? It's the same thing. I mean, I put a nice shirt, so maybe you guys listen to me a little more than if I had sweatpants on and a hoodie, right? It's the same thing. Like how you guys present yourself, it's super important. People are going to perceive that. So we built a specific GPT, which is called the CCC Setup Generator. And I'm going to explain to you exactly how it works, but it's super simple. So you upload some photos of your space, of your house, where you're actually going to film. And then you're going to provide a list of the equipments that you have, okay? Now, so we have this camera, this light, and so on. Super simple. And just like that, the AI builds your ideal setup, okay? So it tells you where everything goes. It tells you where the camera should be placed, where the lighting should be placed, how the background is going to look like, the microphone. So it's fully optimized without trial and error. And if you guys don't have this, if you guys don't have like a filmmaking experience, this can truly help you. I mean, I had Ale when we started, like he had years and years of experience, but if not, without this, I would have been lost, okay? So you literally just ask our set generator to generate an image of the final shot. It doesn't really look like me, but it actually is gonna like maintain exactly the type of background. give you an expectation of where the lights are going to be. And of course, with trial and error, you guys are going to perfect it. But just having a message that tells you exactly where to place each one of these objects, if you guys have never used it before, if you guys have never built a setup, can literally be game changing for you guys. Okay? So you're going to know exactly where your audience is before you press record. Yep.
Quick question.
Yeah.
A lot of my videos I record outside whilst walking in the park, in the forest,
Yeah.
and part of my personal brand. So I may have a lapel mic, but it's literally selfie style videos.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
how will the GPT work with that?
100%. So when it comes to that, one thing that I want you all to realize is the moment where you do market research, like I showed you at the beginning of this presentation, you're going to notice that there's certain niches that actually perform better when you have a more genuine kind of shot, like phone shot, like walking outside. We actually have one of our clients, like it's called Nat Berman. I don't know if you guys know it from LinkedIn too. We built, like in I think 2 months, from 0 to 90,000 followers. He just uses phone and walk outside the pool, right, in his backyard. So first thing, the reason why I'm not giving you a straight answer is because, first of all, is that working for you? Is someone else in your industry using that background successfully, like kind of just walking around and using that? Because if that's the case and it's working, you don't necessarily have to change it, okay? In a lot of industries, that actually performing really, really well right now. So first ask yourself, does it make sense for me in the first place to change the background that I'm currently using to improve my setup? If the answer is yes, you can use this GPT. If it has been proven to work and you feel comfortable with that, then you don't necessarily need to change it.
Yeah, all good.
All right. Any other question on the setup part? No?
I have basic.
Yeah,
So that's a custom GPT, in my opinion.
that's correct, yes.
Can you give me the name again?
Yeah, we can actually like provide it to you guys later.
Yeah, we're going to provide all of the links now for everything.
Yeah. And maybe you guys can exchange a few words with Simone in the background. He's the setup master. He built a career on building setups. How you doing, man? All right. So these entire systems means fast and clear process. From the moment you guys find the idea, from the scripting, all the way to how you actually record this, okay? And the other thing that I want you to realize, guys, is when you have a process that is so dialed in, it's so easy to delegate it too. We have a few clients here that actually have a VA or someone that they're currently working with and helping them in the process of content research, scripting. And that's because the moment where you don't have a process, you need to rely 100% on the person and their skills. But when you have a system to give to this person that you work with, now it's more of a step-by-step procedure. And it's so much easily trained rather than trying to just find someone that is super good at content creation and just make them do everything, okay? So fast and clear process, but also easy to delegate, okay? Perfect. Yeah, so questions on the entire process overall, because after this we're gonna pass to the next step. All right, and also to remind you guys, we actually gonna give you access to these templates and things that we talked about. So when you actually put your hands on it, you can actually use it and see how it works, right?
Can I just ask a question
Yeah.
on the scripting part? How much of that gives you the script, or is it just sort of a framework, some ideas?
It actually gives you a script like 85% of the way, I would say. The reason why I would never, even if like the technology goes even further, I would never say 100%, because that's the moment where you get lazy. Again, and we were talking about it. Because you can use frameworks and things that have been proven to work, and that increases so much your potential of making it work. But then if you're not even spending some time to review it and making sure that it actually sounds like you, gives the right value, in my opinion, you're doing something wrong because you're not taking enough time to actually give the right value to your audience. So, but I would say it's 85% there. Especially the more you use it, the more the chat gets trained, and it becomes better and better.
Right, thanks.
Of course. Yeah?
And where do you store all these content ideas? Because sometimes you have all this inspiration, but then you have a system or a...
Yeah. So, I mean, inside of our program, we have a whole content Notion database where basically we store all of our ideas. We then have a calendar. So Of course, you want to be organized with it because if not, like inconsistencies start to happen. I mean, we have the one we use. It's all about building. It can be in Notion. It can be in other softwares. Just make sure that you have like a content idea list. And yeah, we can actually show you our. So this, for example, is yeah, we post quite a lot of content. This is our content calendar, how it looks like. So we have one for Reels, one for Stories, one for YouTube, one in general for marketing. And yeah, it's like we know exactly what stage this piece of content is at. So posted public, edited, filmed. So we know exactly what's going out, at what stage is at, and so on. Okay, you guys can just build it based on your preferences, but you all should have a database just like this one.
And is that in Notion?
Yeah, this is in Notion. This is in Notion, correct. Yeah.
Question about Poppy
Yeah.
AI. So I use an AI agent to create a content calendar that goes into Notion. Can you
Yeah.
use Poppy AI for that as well, when you have like the ideas and kind of bring it together, taking the pre-validated content
Yeah.
for the next month's one, or is that outside the scope?
Yeah. I mean, we have such a simple database that it's like you would just copy and paste the script from Poppy once it's finished. We just paste it into our Notion, and that's kind of like a process that we do manually. I'm not aware of the possibility of connecting Poppy to this.
This part of the presentation will be pretty quick, but very, very applicable. And so what we're going to actually break down is what we call the authority personal brand profile blueprint. So this is how you actually structure your Instagram profile, and exactly step by step how we instruct all of our clients to structure their Instagram profile so that first of all you appear as an authority, and second, it actually converts people into clients. Once again, that's really a topic that will come up over and over again, because our goal here is not just to be known, not just get views, but also get clients and cash flow for our business. So the first thing to understand, what we were also already mentioning, is first impression matter, right? So as we were saying literally right now, when it comes to the setup, it's like if you have a messy background, then it's going to give a certain type of impression, whereas if you have a professional setup, it's going to give another. And so the same exact thing is with your profile, because if you think about it, it's really the first thing that people see when they actually land on your content. They see your content, they decide to follow, the first thing that they see is your profile. So even more, if you actually want to attract high quality leads, as I was saying in this very second, if we actually want to attract the type of people that would be willing to pay us tens of thousands of dollars, which is also what we're able to do right now with our personal brand because of how we built it, then we actually need to speak their language and to really show that we are the type of person that they can trust. So there are 4 main elements that we focus on to nail our first impression. Now, the first one is really our profile picture. Now, this is really, really important, especially if you have a company, because here's the truth. People relate to people, not companies. So we actually did this change and this big switch recently. We used to have our logo, the one that you can see right here. And then we realized also because we use a lot our Instagram DMs, especially to close people, to close clients, to get them on a call with us. And we're also going to break down actually that entire process, which is very, very powerful. And we realized, well, people every time that they chat with us or even when they land on their page, they don't even know what we look like. Like, of course, they can see it from the content on the page, but especially if we're just having a conversation with them in the DMs, which is actually one of our main sources of acquisition and how we get most of our clients, they don't even see our faces. And how much more likely are you to reply to a person compared to a company? A company, you would just expect that it's, you know, whatever low-level person that's maybe just in charge of replying to the Instagram DMs and whatnot. And so it's really important. This is actually what we make all of our clients do. Even if you have a bigger company, even if you have a bigger reality, to find someone that can be the face of the brand. It doesn't even need to be one single person, because as you can see, we are 2, okay? And so this is really, really important because it's the first thing that people see, and pretty simple, pretty straightforward. A lot of you guys are also on LinkedIn, so when it comes to actually how to set it up, have just like a nice background, you smiling, clearly visible in the frame, and you can also play a little bit with color to create that association with the brand. I don't know if you noticed, but we have blue here, we have blue here, we have blue in the background. It creates this association so that whenever people also land on our content, also in our content, we actually use blue lights. It's like whenever someone lands on our content, they immediately recognize that it's us, that they are seeing something from Create Content Club. And so that's just overall branding. Everything like plays a role in this. Everything is very intentional. We're going to talk about in a second also about being intentional and everything that's involved in this process of really attracting high quality people with your content. Now, the second one will be your Instagram name. So here, what I'm talking about is this exact part right here. And it's not a username. pay attention. This is a different thing, okay? And this needs to clearly communicate who you are. So in our case, of course, we have our names and then the name of the company, also because the name of our company already makes you understand so much of what we do, right? Create Content Club. It's like, well, what are these guys gonna do? Well, probably create content. And what we make you do, if you have your own personal brand and you're an individual, is actually share what your expertise is. Are you a fitness coach? Are you a sales expert? Okay? And so you want to make sure that you add that. And there's also a very specific reason, not just for what people will see, but also for SEO. So people can actually search this up. Whenever they go on Instagram and they type out, for example, fitness coach, if you have fitness coach inside of your name, they will actually find you. And the same exact thing goes for whatever expertise. Again, if you're a sales expert or sales trainer, someone that trains sales teams, they can literally search sales team trainer and they might find you. So it's really, really powerful in that sense as well. Now, the third part is your Instagram bio. Now, here I'm going to expand a little bit more because this is really powerful. This is a very little space that you have to communicate pretty much everything, or at least as much as possible about your brand in those first few seconds. So we structure it in a very clear and simple way. It's very defined, so it's super simple also to remember. The first thing, the first line that we put is who we actually help. That's really the first thing because it's what people are going to see first and what they're going to resonate with. So we help businesses scale with content. Super simple, super straight to the point. If you're a business, you're gonna relate to this. You will not be watching our content unless you're interested in content. And by saying this, we immediately speak to business owners. The second line, social proof. Super important. You have to understand that nobody knows who you are. Like, even if you have a brand as big as ours, they don't know who you are. They don't know what your achievements are. You need to give them a reason to actually watch and to actually keep on paying attention to you. And this actually goes exactly the same inside of your content. This is really, really important. Like, we actually have this conversation with a lot of our clients. They have amazing results and they just don't share them, or they don't mention it inside of their content. I actually had this conversation recently with one of our clients, and he's an advertising expert. He was actually supposed to be here. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. But I was like, man, when I read your content, and the same thing goes for your profile, I'm like, why should I listen to you exactly? Like, what did you achieve in advertising? Like, for example, I don't know, what's your ad spend? And he was like, I don't know, probably total ad spend in my career, 200 million. I was like, why does nobody know about this? Like, why don't you put it out there? Everybody should know about that, because the moment they read that, they're like, okay, this guy probably knows a thing or two about advertising. I'm going to pay attention, right? So super, super important, social proof. Never take for granted that people will listen to you. They won't, unless you give them a reason to. And here, especially for the type of content that we're creating, which is valuable content, content where we educate people, if they don't know what your actual expertise is, if they don't know what you actually achieved already, how can they know if they should pay attention to you? Super important. Third line, call to action, okay? So it's very much structured like a piece of content, okay? We want to have a call to action so that if we got people's attention, if they just landed on our profile, we want to make them take an action. Now, how we approach it is also very different compared to what a lot of coaches do. A lot of coaches just send people to whatever they sell. Maybe book a call with them, like a sales call, or maybe directly whatever product they sell. Now, here's the thing. People tend not to really go on your profile every single day. The main moment in which they will actually land on your profile is when they just started following. How likely is it that after they watch a 30-second video of you and they just met you, they are going to buy something from you, especially if it's thousands of dollars? They're not going to trust you enough. And so how you actually want to leverage this is leading with value. So what we do is we just redirect people to our YouTube channel. So basically, if somebody clicks there because they're like, okay, cool, these guys helped me because I'm a business owner. They generated 500 million views and more, so they probably know something about it. And here they're telling me, okay, if you want to actually scale your business with our content systems completely for free, you can just check out this link. Now, if they just watch a 30-second video of ours, they can go there and they can start binging hours and hours of our content. How much more trust is that going to build? And in the description of each and every video there's still our call to action and our link to whatever we sell. But what's the difference? If they literally saw 30 seconds of video, they click there, they go here, and they watch an entire hour, they're like, okay, after an entire hour, they feel more like they know us. They feel more like we can actually help them with whatever we do. And so at that point, again, people are not stupid. It's like, yes, there's a little bit more friction. They don't just book a call directly there. They don't just buy directly there. They have to take that step, and then there, inside of the video, the YouTube video, they will actually find the link to book. But it's like, if somebody actually wants to book a call with you or buy your product, they will find a way to do it, okay? And once again, the moment in which they land on your profile is more often than not when they just saw your content. And so it's really important to first nurture them, provide value first, start with that, okay? So super, super important, the part of your Instagram bio. Make sure that you have in mind these 3 lines and that you restructure your profile exactly like this. Now, the number 4, super powerful and super underrated tool is your Instagram highlights. Because this, what we have right here on our profile, you can literally search it up and also look at it for yourself. It's tons and tons of social proof. So here we say 500 million views generated for our clients because that's all of the space that we have. So it's very limiting in that sense. But here we have literally dozens and dozens of Instagram stories that we put throughout time in which you can see successful client, successful client, successful client, successful client. And so it's like when you land on the profile, or actually the moment you want to click the link or decide that you actually want to take action or message us to ask us for our services, and maybe you're still in doubt, you're still hesitant, you're like, okay, this guy's got 500 million views, but I don't know, can they actually do it for me? And then you open this, and it's just like client result, client result, client result, client result, client result. You're gonna be like, okay, they probably can. And so we have a bunch of different approaches when it comes to the highlight stories. And then that will probably depend a little bit also on your specific niche and what specifically that you do. But the main thing that you definitely need to add there is social proof. So what do we have here? Results number 3. This is actually the 3rd collection that we created because they couldn't fit anymore in the stories, right? Results number 2. That was the other collection. $3 billion training. What did we do? We actually hosted an in-person event for the fashion brand Guess. We actually went to their headquarters in Switzerland and we trained their social media team. We recorded the whole thing and we made it available on YouTube. So it's like, if you're going to be able to see us training a $3 billion per year company, how much more trust is that going to create, right? And we also have a portion of stories that you can kind of see here, which is a little bit more on mindset shifts and making people understand where they think wrong about content. So this is somewhat of objection handling. We're going to talk about that in a second because we also use Instagram stories a lot for that. And so to pre-handle objections that we get in sales calls. So the last part that you can see right here is your pin post. This is also a super powerful tool. Like you can actually choose what people will see first on your profile. And so many people don't actually use it, or if they use it, they just use it the wrong way, okay? Which is just, for example, pinning their most viral video. And let's say this. We have our most viral video pinned. We talk about content and how to grow on Instagram. So that makes sense because it is social proof for us. But otherwise, it doesn't really make sense. They have to be very intentional. And so what I highly recommend that you have is these 3. First of all, an introduction. Share who you are, what you do. Of course, still structure as a piece of content that people will want to consume. So what you can see right here, you can kind of see it, is a carousel that we have in which we break down a little bit of our story and what we did and what we achieved. So we built a 460,000 followers personal brand, and then we break down our process and all of the results that we got over time. And then social proof, as I was saying, so something that actually shows the client results or the results that you got for yourself, and a call to action. So also a piece of content, in this case, that can literally be the 3rd one, the last one that you actually have there pinned on your profile, in which people can still always find a simple way to take action and book a call with you, purchase your product, whatever that might be, okay? Super, super important. So this is pretty much it for this presentation. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but incredibly powerful because, once again, this is the first impression that people have of you. Any questions on the profile? Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned your call to action.
Yeah.
Is to take them to some sort of another level of social profile, assess your authority.
Yeah.
For people who are starting,
Yeah.
starting up on LinkedIn, they're on LinkedIn and want to come onto Instagram or TikTok, whatever.
Yeah.
And would you recommend they create a YouTube channel with one powerful video that shows the content, whatever it is? If they don't have that other,
Yeah,
generate,
of course.
What would be your view on this?
That's a very good question. Not necessarily. The main goal of that really is to have some more in-depth free value that people can consume that also creates a little bit more friction, right? Because it's very easy to consume a 30-second piece of content. It's a little bit harder to consume a 45 minutes YouTube video, but that also proves that you're actually interested. So that doesn't necessarily need to be YouTube. It doesn't even necessarily need to be videos. For us, it makes a lot of sense because we're content creators. We're very good at videos. One thing that you could easily leverage there would be, for example, a newsletter. It could be articles, if you actually write articles in a blog of some sort. It could be literally any sort of longer form content where people spend more time with you and so they get to know you and they get to trust you. Yeah?
There is like any tool that you use to analyze audience profile? Like, you see, I don't know, if you are a brand, like maybe you want to analyze like how do they do it, or you only do it like following these steps?
We tend to follow these steps. Of course, market research always applies. Like, a lot of people, as we were also saying before, take content that is very creative endeavor, but at the end of the day, if you're a business, you also want to think about it in a very logical way and see what's actually already working. So you can definitely do research in your industry. At the same time, this is a pretty universal structure that we've seen working across niches. Yeah?
Can you change your name on Instagram if you're meta verified?
Yeah, but you will have to get the verified again, probably. You'll have to apply again.
If I change my name to like my name's Dave Abajar on there, if I write autism parent coach on there, then that's obviously not on my passport.
I'm pretty sure that you can still get it because we have it. We have Alessio and Brian and Create Content Club. This part will be organic content to ICP. So exactly how to attract your dream client with your content. As we said, this is crucial. We don't just want to get some views. We also want to get clients from our content, okay? So the importance of being intentional with your personal brand is really the main focus that we're going to talk about. I mentioned already a little bit about this when it comes to the profile. And I told you guys how important it is, the first impression that the profile creates and everything that you need to focus on. But we're going to cover all of the other elements that are involved when it comes to your content, when it comes to how you script your videos, when it comes to your Instagram stories, and how they influence who you actually attract with your personal brand. As I was saying, views don't matter if they don't turn into cash for your business. At the end of the day, sure, it's nice to be known, but at the same time, we also want to be able to collect payments just like this through our personal brand. So what's really important to understand is what you show is what people think of you and associate with your brand. This is crucial. And this was something that I was mentioning also before about also sharing social proof, sharing what you achieved. Because it's like, if you don't show it, it effectively doesn't exist for other people because only you know about it, okay? So it's really important to be very intentional with what you decide to show inside of your personal brand. You want to pick what you communicate and how you communicate it very accurately. Now, there are 9 areas specifically that we identified of focus for your personal brand that can genuinely help you and completely change who you're able to target with your content. The first one is your scripts, okay? And the first point that I want to make is super important, especially for all those of you that are experts in your own fields and that have a lot of technical knowledge. Because the problem is that more often than not, we tend to overcomplicate how we explain things, or we take for granted that other people have as much knowledge as we do. And so you want to make sure that you simplify your scripts in a way that's incredibly understandable for everybody. Now, I literally put an example here. I'm going to read a part of it. This is literally a script that we reviewed for one of our clients, and in which we made this exact comment. So this was from an AI expert, someone that's expert in automations, and he helps basically businesses automate parts of their processes through AI and automations. And if you read the script, there's a clear problem with it. Because right here, he says something that I'm just going to read out loud. I literally don't know what it means, which is what I pointed out also for him, okay? He says, then NA10 grabs each file and sends it to Pinecode to turn it into searchable vectors. I was like, brother, I don't understand a word of what you just said. I'm a business. I'm literally the target of who you're trying to reach with your content, and I didn't understand anything of what you just said. How fast do you think I'm going to drop at that point? Because the problem oftentimes when you're an expert in your own field is that you picture or you have in mind this idea that you're talking to other experts in your own niche. But more often than not, it's not who you're talking to, or at least even if you're talking to other experts in your niche, you're not talking to someone that's exactly at your same level. And so by you being able to simplify your language, you speak to so many more people. And mind, this is also really important. A very common misconception when it comes to this is the idea of, oh, well, if I oversimplify, they're gonna think I'm kind of stupid or like I don't really understand the concept. But it's the exact opposite if you really think about it. Because if I stood up in this room and I started explaining quantum physics and all of you were able to understand it, would you think that I'm stupid and I don't understand quantum physics? You would think that I understand it so well that I could literally explain it to a 10-year-old. When you're able to really do that is when you actually really mastered your skill. And so you want to do the same exact thing inside of your scripts. Now, the second version of it, and the second very common problem, is being able to pick very specific examples and language that speak to your ICP. So this is actually a script from Nicola, so I'm gonna put him on the spot. but it's a script that we reviewed together because he basically helps people create their AI avatar clones so that they are able to just like film the content with that. And when you actually read through this script, it was like at the end of it, boom, you got your first clients paying you thousands every month for cloning him. I was like, cool, but who does this speak to? This speaks to the Nicola of 2 years ago that wanted to get paid to do that. This doesn't speak to his ideal client, which is a business owner that doesn't want to start doing AI clones. They don't want to learn how to do it to earn their first money. They already earn money. They want to know how they can do it for their own business or how he can do it for their own business, right? And so really, really important, picking specific examples and language that actually speak to your ICP, right? Because this speaks to the broke 18-year-old that wants to find a side hustle to actually start making some money, right? But if I repackage it and I'm like, and boom, now you don't have to record the content anymore. You literally saved hours and hours of your time because you have this AI clone that films it for you. Well, now it speaks to the business owner, right? And so it's really, really important. How we also approach content is whenever we write a script, we try to pick very intentionally all of the examples and the specific elements that we put inside of the content. And so if I'm giving an explanation on how to write a good hook, and then I want to give an example of the principle that I'm explaining. So I might say, to write a good hook, you need to include numbers, right? So for example, the 3 solutions for whatever, right? And then I will make an example. So for example, I will pick the example specifically to talk to who I'm targeting. So I will pick someone that's, for example, a business owner for me. So I might say, so for example, if you're a sales coach, how you will want to start your video will be, here are the 3 best ways to handle this objection. And by making that example very specific to who I'm trying to target, they will see themselves in the video more. But at the same time, I keep the concept broad enough so that everybody can still understand it. So if I'm not a sales coach, I will see that and I will be like, okay, that makes sense. He just explained it with a practical example. But if I'm a sales coach, I will be like, whoa, this guy is literally speaking to me. And so this is how powerful it can be, focusing on these 2 elements of your script. So making sure that you pick specific examples and languages that speak to your ICP and simplifying as much as possible how you actually communicate, because that just shows expertise. Now, the second part is your Instagram stories. Now, this is a huge and massively underrated element of your personal brand and of Instagram specifically. But you want to pay attention to the images that you actually pick. Okay, we're going to talk about also in a second on how we structure Instagram stories and sequences to get people to convert. But here I'm focusing more on the actual content that we're putting in. So how we are actually structuring and how are we being intentional to be able to reach the type of people that we want to reach. And so, first of all, the images that you pick. These are all from our last mastermind. It's like, how does this position us? There's 20 people in a room that are willing to listen to us. We probably are saying something, like we're probably someone. We're probably saying something interesting. Everything that we're doing here, of course, is to provide value, but it's also for content for all of us, right? We are producing content that positions us in a certain way, in a certain light. I will actually encourage all of you to host masterminds, host in-person events, right? We're trying to do it more and more regularly for our clients. Again, not just to enhance the experience of the programs and what we offer to our clients, but also to create a sense of community, but also to create content, right? Content that positions us in a certain light. So as I was saying, the same exact way that I was saying it for the profile. And the second thing is what we actually communicate inside of the stories. And so for this, it's crucial to have sales and marketing departments communicate between them so that you can pre-handle objection. So that was something that I was mentioning before. How we use the content, how we use the marketing, how we use everything that we share is to help the sales process, okay? So for us, the marketing and sales department are me and Brian. I'm the marketing department, he's the sales department. So the communication is pretty straightforward. But we also have, for example, an appointment setter, someone that's in our Instagram DMs all the time that actually gets people to book a call with us. And so we host weekly calls with these people in our team as well. to understand, okay, what are people saying exactly? Like, what's stopping them from actually working with us? What are the objections that they have? What do they struggle with when it comes to content? What are they not convinced about when it comes to our offer or what we offer or how we can help them? And so this is actually really interesting because how we package this structure, like this specific sequence of stories, for example, was based on very specific objections that we had. This was literally towards half of December, and everybody was like, yeah, I'm gonna start in January. And so we started getting a little bit of that objection of like, I'm gonna start in January, marketing budget pretty much finished already for the year, and in January everybody just starts again, and so on. And so how do we use this story sequence? Not just to position ourselves as authorities, how, as I was saying, we are in a certain type of environment, but also what we say. So I will just quickly read through it. Last weekend we hosted our first in-person mastermind. I will actually skip real quick through this. The part of this that we're the most proud of is not even the value that was shared, but how quickly we were able to make all of this happen. Speed is key. If you don't operate fast, you will never get to scale your business to the level that you will want it to be. It literally took us a few weeks. This is a real story. It took us a few weeks to plan and prepare the entire event and get more than 16 people from all around the world to fly out to Cyprus to attend. Do you think that those coaches and entrepreneurs that you see online that you admire and that have what you want spend months to take decisions? No. They win because they operate fast. You will never, very specific, this is literally what people were telling us, and so we include it in the story because then it speaks to them. You will never hear these people say, oh, I'll start in January, right? And so now I'm literally doing the sales process of creating this positive association between, oh, I need to take action now, I don't need to wait until January, and I associate that to the best coaches and entrepreneurs that you are inspired by, right? And so this is literally something that will inevitably happen in your sales process, but if you can also make it happen in your marketing process, it will make everything so much easier. Because now everybody that has the objection of this, and they're like, I will just start in January, they read this, and if we make a compelling enough point, which I think we do by making this comparison, and they're like, well, that makes sense. I need to take action now. Why should I wait? Like the people that I admire, they don't wait for January. What is January? January is just like another time of the year. Why not start now? And so being very intentional, both in how you pick the images for your stories, but also what you communicate. And making sure, this is really, really important also for your content, that the sales and marketing department communicate between them so that you can actually pre-handle of these objections. That's the power of marketing at the end of the day. It's sales at scale. So if you don't handle content and if you don't use content as a marketing tool by doing this process, then you're doing it wrong. Now, the third part is your profile. I'm gonna just quickly recap through this also for the people that were not here before. We went through this before. So clean profile picture, because people want to talk to people, not to companies. So especially since we're going to also see it in a second, we use a lot Instagram DMs as our strategy of sales to get people on a call with us and then convert them. Really important, clean profile picture. It's a personal brand. So your name and also what you do, who we help, social proof, call to action, leading with value. So as I was saying also before, who do you help? First line, what people immediately need to see. So we help businesses scale with content. Social proof, what did you achieve? Why should I listen to you? 500 million views generated for our clients. Call to action, leading with value. We don't want to immediately push people on our product. So scale your business with our content systems, completely free. Just click the YouTube, okay? More social proof, the stories. This, if you literally go on our profile, if you didn't, you can also do it to literally see how we structure this. It's like results, client results, client results, client results. Everybody's winning. Everybody's getting tons of views. Everybody's getting tons of followers. And then the pinned post. Introduction. So people, as soon as they land on your profile, they know who you are and what you do. Social proof, once again. So results that you got for yourself or your clients. And a call to action. So if they actually want to work with you, how can they do that? Number 4, your lead magnets. And this, once again, is where the marketing and the sales part need to communicate very effectively. So who are we trying to target? We are trying to talk to business owners. What problems do they have? What objections do they have? And so if you look at this, how to build a profitable personal brand in 2026. Not just personal brand, a profitable personal brand. A personal brand that actually makes you money. Watch us fix a stranger personal brand in 87 minutes. What does the thumbnail say? He has a lot of posts, but he only attracts broke leads. That's a problem that a lot of business owners we know struggle with. And so a lot of people came to us and they were like, well, I'm already making content, I'm already getting people, but they all can't afford my services. And so when I package this, I do it on purpose, thinking about those kind of people and handling that objection and explaining them what they need to fix. Same thing here. How we grew 400,000 followers in 1 year working 4 hours a week. Problem, content takes too much time. No business owner has time. How do we solve it? Here is the solution, but how do we package it? Exactly this problem that they mentioned. So I don't have time, no problem, 4 hours a week. That's all you need to grow 400,000 followers. So just imagine what you can do even if you put just a little bit less of that, right? Now, the number 5 is your landing pages. So when you actually direct people to your offer or to booking a call with you or to whatever action that they actually need to take, what does your landing page communicate? What does it tell them? Coaches and agency owners, we call out our target audience. Still the same content system we used to book 5 to 10 qualified calls per week. I'm talking about book calls. I'm not even talking about views and followers. Because the type of people that we want to attract, the type of people that we talk to want sales. They don't just want views. Without spending more than 5 hours per week on content. So once again, I'm pre-handling the objection of the time. Number 6, we actually have your appearance. This is really interesting. And I love the fact that this crowd also proves part of my point. Because notice us and notice our clients. We actually have 2 of them also here. If you can raise your hand, Darius. And 2 guys that work on content, have a content agency. Who do they remind you of, right? So being intentional also when it comes to that, how you present yourself, it's really important. A really funny example, I was literally thinking about this before the presentation. I see someone else with colored hair here, right? I don't think that that's completely random, right? All of this, like these are smaller elements, stuff that might seem more subtle, but makes a difference. Like we know effectively of like really big personal brands, really important people in the space that we talk to one-on-one, people that have years of experience, that literally change their appearance to try and appeal to an older demographic, for example. They try to grow a beard, they put on glasses, they started dressing more elegant, right? We have Brian here as an example as well of that, okay? So really important, really powerful. We've seen this example so many times, also from mentors of ours. Literally had this recently. We were in a call with one of our mentors, and he was like, guys, it's so funny. Like, we all make so much money, and we're all with like $5 black Zara t-shirt. Because you attract who has your similar values, and also how you communicate and how you show your values in yourself, in the content that you create. For example, like, we are not the flexi type of people. Like, even if I actually buy the Lamborghini, right, I will probably not show it in the content because that's not what I want to be known for. That's not what I want to communicate. That's not what really matters for me. And so as a consequence, I will probably attract also people that have the same values. The same exact way, if I probably just show material stuff, I will probably attract people that just want material stuff, right? So it's really important to be intentional also in your appearance. So this is it. I'm going to pass the word for Brian. I'm just going to quickly have around, if you have any questions, guys, because we're a little bit tight on the schedule, so yeah.
So just a quick question from
Yeah.
me. That was really good. I like the idea of bringing your character and values into what you're presenting. The first point about simplification,
Yeah.
does that translate across industries? Because there's industries like banking and legal, for example,
Yeah.
where there's a massive barrier to trust.
Yeah.
So how does that simplification in content translate for that audience? Like, do they buy it? Do they buy the simplification?
The thing is, our goal really with short-form content is just getting initial attention. It's not really to build that trust. So there's a reason why I was mentioning also before, and I went a little bit more in depth on it when I talked about the profile, why we try to direct people to our YouTube in our case. Because there we are a little bit more technical, and we explain all of the strategies, so that if someone is really into the technical part, because the problem is that that's usually the minority of people. And so the problem with short-form pieces of content and short-form platforms is that if your piece of content just talks to a super small audience, it will reach very few people, and then it will stop there. It will not reach past that number just because there's not enough appeal. But if your content is broad enough, it will reach a really wide audience between them that will always also be super qualified people. And then if you play with all of this intentionality, like being intentional with all of these different elements is also to speak to those type of people in a more subtle way though, so that the short form content can still reach a lot of people, but at the same time, right, if I'm making the specific examples inside of the script, I already will talk to a specific type of person. If the call to action that I have is towards a resource that solves a problem that only my ideal clients have, right, that will only talk to them. They will be the only one that will raise their hand and take action to the next step, right? Because, for example, if our call to action in our content, if we talk about how to get views, and then our call to action is like, okay, cool, now you know how to get views, but if you want to know also how to convert these people into clients, then comment
whatever keyword, and I will send you this YouTube video that I created on it, right? Who will take on that is just a business owner, because if you don't have a business and you don't want to make money, but at the same time, everybody else will still have watched the entire video, and so Instagram will be like, okay, cool, people like this video, I'm going to push it to more people. And so that's why you need to find the right balance between keeping it broad, especially at the beginning, especially at the hook, and still keeping a simple language so that everybody can understand, but at the same time, also being very intentional with all of these different elements.
You also need to understand that the reason why you want to do that is because Instagram is, thank you. Instagram works in a way where, like, if you have a super specific hook that just talks to your ideal customer, that means that if Instagram shows your video to 1,000 people, one will relate. And when that happens, you will never, ever, ever get pushed by the algorithm. So it's an art. Like, you need to see it as a funnel. How can I talk to, like, as many people as possible that still inside of this big group of people, there's my ICP, there's my ideal customer persona, and get them on a journey where at the end of the piece of content, who will, take action will be my ideal customer. But the problem is, if you're in the banking industry and you're this years old and you live in this city and it's like perfect client, you're gonna get 5 views. Simply because of the way the algorithm works. It's like the algorithm works, I show it to 1,000 people, 900 like this video, they decided to stay on it, perfect, let's push it to 2,000 more, and then 5,000 more. So do you see the problem of like starting too narrow, right? So you need to imagine the piece of content as a funnel. The more you move forward, the more you can target specifically your ICP. But if you don't start wide enough, you're never gonna break that 200 views jail, right? That's what happens when people get stuck. Yes, you're being specific with your content, but you're not doing it in a smart way that is allowing you to attract enough people. The only 3 content strategies that get you instant return investment. So in the last 3 months, a little less than 3 months, I think we quadrupled the business. Yeah, pretty much quadrupled the business. And we just wanted to focus on the 3 main things that honestly allowed us to do this. Because you can do 1,000 things when it comes to your content. What are the 3 things that you can do starting from today that will give you instant return on investment, okay? So, as we mentioned before, content takes time. But after working on dozens of personal brands, we realized something. There are only 3 strategies that, as I said just 1 second ago, we used it to literally quadruple the business in the last 3 months, that instantly get you better results, both in content, but also cash flow, okay? So, the first thing is repurposing content and improving on it, okay? And maybe you might be thinking right now, but I'm not doing Instagram yet, I'm just on LinkedIn, I'm just YouTube, whatever that might be. That's still content that you have out. Like, you have data that you can extract, and if it's email, if it's content on LinkedIn, you can see the type of engagement that you got on it. So you literally have already thousands of posts, probably if you sum up everything, emails, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, you already have 1,000 posts out, and you guys are probably not looking at the data that those posts are giving you. Like, when's the last time, could you guys tell me, like, on top of your mind, like from the last 50 pieces of content, the 5 that performed the best, and how many followers that got you? Would you be able to tell me that immediately? Yeah? Okay, that's great. Some of you can, some of you can't, but the truth is, it's super, super simple to identify these, right? We used SortFeed before. If you're on Instagram, you can literally just scan all of your content and have it in order. Right now on Instagram, but also many, many accounts on many social medias, you can filter by followers. You can see how many comments a video got. You already have posts that at least perform better than your average ones. And you guys are probably not using them, okay? So this is just an example. But this guy, Michalis, he started working with us that he had, I think, 2,000 posts out? 2,500 posts on Instagram. And he had, I don't know how many followers, but a few, like 10, 20,000, something like that. And we sat down, it's actually one of our YouTube videos that Alessia was showing you before. And we're like, okay, Michalis, you posted 2,500 posts already. Okay, what's working for you? What's not? What you learned from this? He was like, I just do more. I just keep on doing more posts. I already posted this. Why would I look back at them? And I'm like, because inside of these videos, you have something that got 100,000 and you got something that got 1,000. Aren't you interested and curious to understand why one did so well and why the other didn't, right? It's data. You guys can reverse engineer. Like you have videos that got good views and videos that got bad views. And probably you're not spending enough time in reverse engineering what are the difference between those two pieces of content. It's your same face, your same voice, probably you were using the same camera. So there's specific patterns that you can spot in the videos that perform the best for you. And he was averaging 1,000, 2,000 views per video. I'm not kidding you, this is like what his views look like on average now, hundreds of thousands. The only thing that we changed is we reverse engineer his most successful content and we built templates around those. It's like this video worked for you. It got 100,000 views. What exactly did you do differently than this video right here? We built a template based on what his audience was already telling him through the data. And then we built videos that now are predictable. Because if this got 300,000 and he maintains the same hook, but instead of a piece of toast and turkey, he has a piece of toast and eggs, whatever that might be, right? But we maintain the original structure and the way the video is delivered. We can expect 200,000, 400,000, right?
That's an A/B test. It's the same thing as an A/B test.
Exactly. It's A/B testing, but again, you'll be surprised how many always chasing the next video. Oh, I already talked about this topic. Something else. Let me see if this works. When in reality, like your job is to get to know your audience as well as possible, and you already have data to know that. You have already data to make the right decisions, okay? So an exercise that you can do at home, I want you to go through like your emails, content, LinkedIn, YouTube, everything, and list for each platform the 5 videos that got the most engagement and views, and truly try to reverse engineer what you guys did differently there rather than the videos where you were not getting those type of views. And then use those things, those patterns that you learn in your next piece of content. I promise you that you're gonna see better results, okay?
Could I just ask a question? Maybe you're coming to this, I don't know, but I mean, it's great that he managed to find a way, or you helped him find a way of getting hundreds of thousands of views or likes or whatever.
Yeah.
But what was the next step? What was the actual outcome in terms of business? I mean, I assume he's not selling, teaching people how to make toast. So what was the actual objective of those videos, and what results did they produce?
Yeah. So of course this so this guy came to us that he was like doing, I think 1 to 2K a month with his coaching program, and I mean it was a coaching program. It was like he's a fitness coach, so he helps people with nutrition. So he's talking about food here, but I think he was talking about like whatever, the ideal breakfast. So his target is people that want to lose weight, essentially. But I mean, he literally just started with us, but he was saying here how he basically made what he was making in a month in a day, right? He had his first 1.6K. I think he's already almost at 10K for this month, and it's like his record month, and we're like, what? Yeah, 7th, whatever. So I want you to realize that the moment where your messaging is on point, which is what we were talking about before with Alessio, making 100,000 instead of 1,000, of course not 100,000 will be able to afford your service and will be perfectly in target, but percentage-wise, you're gonna have way more leads and potential clients in here rather than getting 1,000 views. So yeah, of course the views look good, but then reaching 10x, 100x the amount of people, of course will lead to more business, always. Yeah?
I have a question about virality. I'm going to take a very specific example. I went viral on TikTok eating a pizza, something I absolutely never do. So I thought I'm going to do it again. And I've eaten another pizza and I went viral again. And I'm literally never eating pizza.
Yeah.
I'm not a nutritionist coach.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's eat anything else, let's eat a wrap or whatever, if it's the process.
Yeah.
I didn't get any new business out of it.
Yeah.
Because it was just literally me eating fucking pizza.
Yeah.
but because I do market research and all of that, I was like, oh, there's something here that my audience like about me eating a pizza. But at this stage, going back without the humor around it, is this really what we're looking for, the virality, or do you know what I'm sharing?
I mean, my first question to you is, have you ever thought about opening a pizza place potentially? No, I mean, that to the side. That's when Alessio was talking about in the previous presentation, which is like, you should not create a piece of content for the sake of getting views.
Yeah.
It's getting views for people that are in target with your offer, okay? So to me, like such a big quality of a person is always making the best out of every situation. So you can still use it as data, right? It's like there's creators out there that they talk about banking and investment and they do it while cooking, right? And they use it as a visual hook. So for example, for whatever strange reason, people love seeing you eat a pizza. How can you do that while actually, for example, talking and informing someone on the value and what it is that you do as a coach, right? Just an example that I'm putting there. But you can take everything, you can extract data and use it to your advantage out of everything. But in the future, you need to be very intentional, which is also what I was saying before. Okay, you're finding these viral content ideas. Are you going in the comments? Are you seeing if this is attracting the type of leads and people that you want on your profile? Because if the answer is no, you should never, ever take that piece of content. Because then you build an audience that is based upon something that you actually have no interest around, right? And you kind of get inside of this rabbit hole, which is really hard to get away from because it's like, every single time I eat a pizza, I get views. So you get that dopamine spike, but it's like it's doing absolutely nothing to your business. Okay, so most people have... Okay, I already talked about everything. So yeah, us and our clients do this. So I kind of like told you already to do it, but do this exercise. Look at your views, 140,000, outlier for us. And then you want to take that piece of content, okay? I'll try to explain it as clearly as possible. We could stand here for like an hour. We don't have this kind of time. But once you found a video, an outlier for you, you can perform each of these, let's say, structures, okay? So you can maintain the same script, but using a different format, okay? What I mean by that is, let's say I make a video, like the 140,000 video, which was like, this is how your profile picture or your profile is supposed to look like. You need to have this, you need to have this, you need to have that. And I'm talking to the camera. That video performed extremely well. Can I do it with a whiteboard? Can I redo the video, but I have images on a whiteboard and I explain with a different media? Can I have a conversation with Alessio where he comes in the camera and is like, nobody's following me, what's wrong with my profile? Oh, well, the first thing that you gotta do, another format, okay? Every single time you get something to work, the first step is maintaining the same exact script, but delivering it with a different packaging, okay? Because again, I don't know if you guys are currently thinking this in your mind, but you should not be scared of repeating something that your audience liked. I like to make this example. You know our client that was posting 2,000 pieces of content and never repeating something. I want you to imagine yourself as Netflix, as a company, okay? You guys own Netflix. And what the guy was doing, he was creating 2,000 pilot episodes for 2,000 different series, and he just created a new one. Like he didn't look at, okay, this TV series that I just created is getting millions of people. It's hitting like Stranger Things. Let me do an episode 2. Let me do a season 2. Let me do and so on. Many people, they just do 1,000 pilot episodes and they don't continue with the format that people liked. If I talk about how to optimize your profile and I get 150,000, guess what? I'm gonna talk about 25 more times about optimizing your profile. Because your audience is asking you that, right? We recently have a video with Charlie talking about a prompt. I think it was our first video together ever, and it got like 5 million views. 7.5 million views. And he was talking about a prompt and how to optimize, using ChatGPT AI. Once every 2 days right now, we're talking about prompts. Why would we stop talking about prompts? Oh, we got 7.5 million views. Great, what's next? No, not what's next. Like your audience, 7.5 million people love that. Talk more about prompts, right? You see how much that is important? Now, you can do it with the same format, but different topic. So we maintain the conversation between me and Alessio, but instead of like, oh, my profile is not converting into followers, I can say, oh, my content is not getting any buyers, right? So same exact format, but we would change the topic of the video. Same hook, different format, meaning this time I can only maintain the initial part of the video, and then I can change the value plus changing the format. I know it's a little overwhelming, but I'm just trying to like make you guys like think about different options that you guys have. Or same topic or different hook. So every single time I talk about profile optimization, the video performs extremely well. How can I change slightly the, how can I maintain the same topic, profile optimization, but test a different hook, okay? All this to say is to make your mind, spin a little bit, run a little bit, and just think about potential things. But all of this to say, every single time you get a video that works, and probably you already have piece of content that worked in the past, double down on that by using all these different options that you have, okay? Second is IG stories, okay? When it comes to Instagram stories, super, super important. Alessia was already quickly telling you about it. Stories are one of the most underrated cash flow tools. So we have all these reels, but I think 80% of our leads come from Instagram stories, not from reels. So reels get us followers. Followers see our Instagram stories, and our followers that see Instagram stories become leads for our business, okay? So, there you go. Hi, Nicola. Hi, Noshin. They're also one of the first things people see on their platform, okay? When you would be surprised, it was actually the CEO of Instagram that said this. Stories are things that are like double or triple consumed than reels. Meaning like people tend to see more stories than reels when they're on Instagram, right? Maybe you guys use it differently, maybe you resonate with this, but stories are one of the first things that people see when they land on the profile, okay? But the problem is that most people use them wrong by not being intentional with it. So let me show you what can happen when you're intentional with it. You can get out of like 50,000 views on one single story. And stories can get you up to 12% conversion rate in conversation open. So not 4,000 people paying you money, I wish. But these are 4,000 conversation that can start, and then our appointment setter, which I'm going to explain to you later, is able to qualify these people, get them on a call, and so on. So it can translate up to 12% out of views that you get on stories. So here's how we create our story sequences. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few examples. This guy here. And the first thing is understanding what is something that you can give to your audience for free that will attract the right ICP for you. So again, you would not send them a video of you eating a pizza if they comment a word, right? But you would pick something that would actually get you qualified people. So our audience is super busy. They're busy entrepreneurs. So if we give them an automation that with one click of a button will post on all different platforms for them, do you think they will see it valuable? 100%. We will save them so much time. They will see us as someone that helped them. Okay, so we simply have a structure, and look how visual we are with the stories. This is super, super important. Like people would put a random photo of a tree and then ask themselves why people don't want the resource. Show them visually the resource, and the text needs to be like very short and very simple to understand. We create an automation that posts on all social media with one click of a button. It takes content directly from our Google Drive, and once market is ready to post, it uploads in all platforms. If you want to just copy and paste it on your business, reply posted. Thousands of people replied posted, thousands of conversation got booked, and tens of calls got booked in our calendar, okay? Something else, want the full DM setting strategy that gets an extra 10 to 15 book calls per week. We made an in-depth 45-minute video breaking down the exact strategy in SOP that we give to our appointment setter. Reply setting to get access to it. Again, we're giving them crazy amount of free value, but all of our resources are super, super intentional. I'm not saying, oh, you want more views, comment this word and I'll teach you how. No, we're targeting someone that actually wants to make something out of these views and as a consequence probably already have a business. Okay? I think we have a third example. No, we don't. So, some key elements for the way you structure your stories. Number one, giving people a reason to watch. So be super intentional with your first slide. You know how there's the hook in content? The first sentence you say is super important. Well, you have a hook in your story. Is your first picture that you show, the first piece of text that you put in that story. And also, one quick thing that I want to tell you. You saw how we had Nicola and Noshin at the beginning in the stories, and we saw them. Guess what? They're doing a good job, maybe because we are our clients, but that might help. But we tend to interact with their stories a lot. We like them, we comment them, and as a consequence, they get put all the way at the beginning of the list. So if you guys are not intentional with your stories, like you put like 5, 10, 15, 20 bad stories and no one interacts with it, Instagram will put you all the way to the back. And people will never see your stories. Because, I mean, if someone is addicted to Instagram, see all the stories, maybe. But it's like, you want to be first. And the way you get first is by being fan of for the algorithm. And every single time someone sees your stories, they interact with it. And Instagram is like, wow, that's amazing. Let me show it to more people. So be intentional, especially with your first story. Be intentional with the choice of resources. Use interactive elements. I don't know if you guys saw, but we had like polls. We use polls majority of the time because it's very simple and you make the audience engage. And these are principles from communication. Like, do you see how many questions Nosheen asked you in the previous presentation? It was not random. It was to make you engage, right? So same thing here. And then short text and maximum 5 stories, 3 to 5. So every single 3 to 5 stories create one story sequence. But 3 to 5 is we tested so many different examples with 1, 2, 20 stories. 3 to 5 is the sweet spot. Okay.
Sorry, how many a day?
Yeah, so it really depends on what your goal is. We tend to have like 1 story sequence a day. Yeah, because by the way, if someone doesn't know, every 24 hours this story go away, right? Stories are very effective because there's natural urgency because they only stay up for 24 hours in your profile. Number 3, doubling your prices. What made us quadruple the business, a big part of it was literally doubling our prices. This is the easiest lever to pull out of them all. Why? Because you're not changing anything, you're just getting double the pay for it. Sounds pretty cool, right? So the results are there are less and better clients, more money, and more profit. Why there are less and better clients? Well, if you're charging 5 and you start charging 10, less people will be able to afford you. But guess what? The quality of the people that work with you will increase so much. I don't know if you ever experienced this, but if you get a client that pays you 1,000 and one that pays you 15,000, I promise you the 15,000 client is so much easier to deal with. They're more experienced, they don't have all these questions, they probably already have some sort of cash flow, so they're more at peace with their business, okay? So literally you start working with less people, but they're better clients that get you better results, okay? And if you're thinking, but my clients can afford such high prices, which is something that we hear all the time, this is completely false. And I mean, we went all the way from charging, $1,000 when we first started to now charging 5-figure for our offer. It's false because when you double, triple, quadruple the prices, you simply start speaking to a completely different type of people. I still remember at the time we sold I think via email, a program for $2,000 to an entrepreneur that was making around $2 million a month. We never heard from him again. He paid, he got the wire, and then I'm like, yeah, ready to start. Didn't even talk to us ever since. But why? Because I want you to understand this. In a world where I have $1 billion net worth and someone else has a $1,000 net worth, to them, $10 is a completely different type of money. 1,000 is a completely different type of money. So I want you to understand that when you double your prices, you simply talk to a different audience. And it's very, very likely that you're going to be able to help them more and get them better results. Okay? So the actionable steps are to run a price increase campaign. This is such an underrated hack that I don't see a lot of coaches, a lot of service agency, whatever they might be doing, which is you want to increase your price, leverage that. Talk about it openly because you add such a strong urgency. Imagine there's 20 people that are thinking about working with you but not really sure. I promise you if you tell them next week I'm doubling my prices, a few of them will reach out. Us as human beings, we need a reason to act. We're not magical, oh yeah, let me just pay this guy. You need to have a strong reason to do it. So if you run a price increase campaign, when in your stories you say, we're getting amazing results to our students, but the delivery is getting harder and harder because so many of you are working with us. That's why to be able to maintain the level of quality of our offer, we're going to increase our prices by 35%. You're just being honest with them. You're doing for your audience because we cannot work with 2,000 people and get them all results. I promise you, you will get a lot of people that are on the edge between doing it or not. So run a price increase campaign. If you have multiple offers, remove all of them and keep the most expensive. This is such another underrated hack. We literally did it to quadruple the business. We had a high ticket, which all of our best clients bought that, the one that were getting the best results. And then we had a low ticket for someone that was starting from zero on Instagram, or starting from zero, my bad, on business. That's super, super bad, because now I'm creating content for who? Group A or Group B? So you're not intentional with the content you create. You don't know who you're trying to attract. And if one person pays me $10,000, I'm getting a better client. I'm getting someone that will get better results. And for the person paying me 1,000, I need to get 10. So imagine delivering for 10 people that are starting from scratch on business rather than one who's already experienced. I mean, that sounds like a no-brainer to me, right? So I promise you, I know you're mentally probably scared, because we were. And it's yeah, but if I remove the offer below, then a lot of people, a lot of people won't be able to afford me. That's okay, that's natural, because 80% of your revenue will come from 20% of your clients, always. And I promise you, you'll give better delivery to the people that can actually afford you, and you're gonna be able to make your content way more intentional, because you know exactly who you're talking to. All right, so I went a little over, but maybe a few questions, yeah? Can we fit it?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you talked about repurposing the content, yeah? Now, I'm in the cybersecurity industry, and our friend here, Naik here, we work in a very specialized, and we work on a zero trust concept. I don't trust anyone. That's how we work, right?
Yeah.
So the question around repurposing is, my customers, they expect to see a personal kind of content platform, but they also want to see a company content platform. So how would you go about repurposing any of that, or maintaining sync between when I'm as an individual versus a company?
When you say that they want company content, who tells you this, and what do they?
They are.
Okay.
That's part of the vetting that.
Okay, and what is company content? How does that look like rather than personal content?
So the kind of question that comes is or the kind of vetting that they would do, okay, so she is saying that she has a company, but is the company active? What is the company teaching about? How credible are they? So those kind of things. Okay.
A very nice structure that you can use for that is, first of all, in your content, you're supposed to talk about your company, the results. So it's they associate it to your face, okay? Because you're a person and people want to connect with other people, but you're talking about your company and what you do with it. Now, something else that we're doing, that we're gonna start doing more and more, and a lot of big guys in the space are already doing, big personal brands, is have the company linked, and you can have it in your bio, okay? So people can always see that you're founder of company, and you use the company to put a lot of testimonials, results, what you're currently doing. So people connect with you, okay, because they want to connect with a person. But at any moment, they can check out your company page, and they can see more company content there. So the results that you're actually doing, what you're currently working on, what you're building, but in a more corporate content way. But I promise you that it's harder to get people to that page, just to the company. So you want to use your face, your character, your content, your education to attract people, but then you can send them to the company one for them to check out more in detail what you do and the results that you're getting.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, yeah?
When you raise your prices, so what happens to your cash collected versus payment plans, and what have you done to incentivize people paying upfront?
Yeah, so of course, if you guys work B2B, business to businesses, you know how cash flow is important. And also how when you work with a business, they usually have more cash flow to invest in something. So how we have our pricing structure, we have a bit of an incentive if someone decides to pay up front. We can still split up the payment if it's really needed, but there's an incentive if someone pays up front. And then in the sales process, I see a lot of people making the mistake of oh yeah, this is the price, but we can split it up monthly. And they kind of rush to justify that. If you just wait a moment and it's our pricing structure is a payment up front of X. And you shut up and you don't say anything, you'll be surprised of how many people are all right, let's do it. If they really are oh, but I don't have this cash flow up front, all right, not a problem. How much do you have to invest right now? You understand that and you split up the rest. So I would say it's a combination of having, of course, a bit of an incentive to pay up front, but also don't rush so much and like immediately go for payment plan.
Because when you raise the price,
yeah.
you didn't see like a big like uptick.
The main reason why is kind of what we were saying of the fact that you talk to different people.
Yeah. We actually,
the proportion of what they kind of
we started getting more paid up front when we raised the prices. So usually, I think like 70% of our payments are paid up front.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
I have an Instagram account, but I've not really got any traction with it. So if I were to go deep into Instagram now, do you suggest I start with a new account or just keep going with the account I have?
Yeah, I'm gonna send you on WhatsApp a specific procedure that we have on when to decide to create a new account or not, because there's a few things to consider. Like, okay, you have an audience. Who is that audience made of? Is it people that like when you eat pizza? I'm sorry, just using it as an example. But it's like,
I mean, it's like under 100 people, so it doesn't really matter.
okay, so when it's like that low of a number, usually doesn't matter that much. But also as a consequence, we still check a few things, because still it's just 100 people. Creating a new one is not a big stress, big. It's not like you have tens of thousands and you're like putting them in the bin, right? So yeah, I'm gonna send you the procedure, but probably like just saying it like this, if it's 100 people, I would honestly create a new account in my experience. But we can look into that.
I love all of what you discussed about testing different formats,
Yeah.
different variants, all of this. Again, I love this from a
Yeah.
A/B testing world. Now, on social media, especially on Instagram, same thing on LinkedIn, there's a lot of things happening from one day to the next that you don't control.
Yeah.
And so the question is that is there a data source where you can actually deduct a little bit what have happened,
Yeah.
like the traffic, like how many people have posted, just to be able to
Yeah.
to see better the
Yeah,
results.
So for the way the algorithm is heading right now, we do things in batch tasking, meaning we script all content, we record all content, we edit all content in one go, but we honestly don't go more than 1 week at a time. Because for example, if you create content monthly, it's like now you basically guaranteed you're already behind on how the algorithm was before. So I highly suggest you work week by week by week, and you analyze the data from your own videos, so you can repurpose what worked best from the previous week. Plus, you can still do some content research, and by using something like SortFeed, you can always see your competitors, what were the most successful piece of content and what were the problems that they were solving. All right, so in this presentation, we are going to go super in depth into our appointment setting strategy. This is exactly what we do in the last 3 months to go from averaging 30, 40,000 a month with our business all the way to surpassing 6 figures, 154K last month. So appointment setting strategy was a big deal to be able to achieve this. And appointment setting is arguably the most underrated and powerful lever you can pull to convert more from your content. Okay, so in 1 second, I'm going to go through the whole structure and how it works. But first, I want to focus 1 second in understanding why appointment setting is so powerful. The first thing is it's speeding up the conversion process so much. So I want you to understand that creating content is a way of doing marketing one-to-many, okay? Because I'm putting out a piece of content, I'm talking to my ideal customer, but I'm never gonna have a one-to-one conversation with someone, right? Imagine if you were able to talk one-on-one with every single potential client that comes to your Instagram, LinkedIn page. How much more likely would you be to make them become a client? Appointment setting allows us to do this, okay? So we're going to break down exactly our outbound/inbound process, our post-booking process, and also our follow-up process. So from the moment where someone lands on our content ecosystem, all the way to getting them on a call, okay? So before I get into the outbound process, I do want to tell you something super quickly. Whenever you make content in the right way, you're gonna start attracting ICP, okay? So that's already happening. Now, what appointment setting does is, as we were saying, it fastens up the process by a lot, but it's for a very specific reason, which is you're able to give them personalized connection. What that means is you're able to talk on a one-on-one level with your prospects, you're able to give them personalized advice, and more importantly, you're able to connect with them on a personal level. You're going to see this. There's very little business, especially at the beginning of the conversation. Our goal is connecting with them and then later on converting them and booking on a call with us, okay? So appointment setting really allows you to have this one-on-one conversation with your prospect and really build that genuine connection. So the outbound process, what does it mean, okay? I want you to imagine this very clearly. You get people to follow you on your account, liking your video, interacting in any type of way, and you see their account and you see that they can be a good fit for your program because they have founder in their bio, they can see they're some sort of successful, they have a company. Let's say they're the perfect profile for you. To be able to speed up that sales process, we're not gonna magically wait for them to reach out to us and let's hope it's gonna reach out to us because it's a perfect client. No, we're actually gonna do a warm outbound. It's not a cold outbound, it's not like cold calling, but we're gonna reach out to them with an opener because it's a warm outbound because they already follow us, they're already familiar with our content, and we wanna fasten up that sales process, okay? So we have an opener, and when it comes to the opener, something that I want you to understand is it needs to be personalized to your content. We split tested around like 10, 15 opener, and we have so many data that we collect, so much data that we collected, and this is the winner for us. And I want you to realize that it's for a very specific reason. A lot of our ICP are people that come from Europe like us or some other places, but English is not their first language. It's actually something Alessia was saying before, you attract who you are. We are Italians, so we have a little bit of an accent, and people many times have followed us, connect with us because they can also tell that we're not Americans or British, but we're speaking English in our content. So we tested so many of these openers, and hey, I hear an accent, where are you from? Literally 5x the amount of replies, rather than a simple, hey, I saw you from this place, how is it there? Why? Because it actually targets the kind of audience that we have. So I want you as an exercise, you can write it now and do it later, like write down 3 to 5 potential message opener that you can send to potential prospect that has something to do with your personal brand. It might be an accent, like us. It can be something completely, like for example, you're super big on a particular sport or hobby, and you talk about that. It's gonna be a little bit of a funny one, but one of our coaches, he's Asian from Malaysia? Yeah, from Malaysia. And naturally, he attracts a lot of people from Asia because of the way he looks like. And one of his most successful opener is, what kind of Asian are you? Right? And I swear, I'm not kidding, like we were at a seminar with this guy, we're like 17, very young entrepreneurs, all doing very well. And there were like, 12, 10 Asian in there? Because of course, you're likely to attract who you look like, right? Who has your same values, your same features. So make sure you come up with an opener that actually connects to either your personality, how you look like, now I'm just laughing, but it's like, what hair color do you have? You can really play with this, and it can be something that really matches with your brand, okay? Sweet. So the opener is super, super important because it allows you to open conversation. The moment where they reply, I was actually thinking of like doing a round of question once the process is fully finished, but I'm gonna remember. So come up with 3 to 5 openers, test them, and I need you to guys like actually track this number. So I sent 100 of these openers, how many reply? This is super important because if you're not doing that, you don't know what works for you, what doesn't, okay? As you can see guys, also, we're not talking about business at all here. Like I hear an accent, where are you from? It's not, oh, what do you do for business? What's your line for business? And I know that, especially if you guys come from LinkedIn, that might look a little off to you or weird. But on IG, everyone is so fed up with being pitched all the time, like what this guy trying to sell me, what this other person trying to sell me, that if you master the initial point of connection on a human being level, you're gonna be able to convert so many people because they're gonna appreciate the fact that you're not like, what do you do for a living, how can I help you? Like you didn't even build a connection. Like I want you to guys think about appointment setting like you're talking to a real person. Let's say you actually wanna like work with someone. Like you wouldn't like be so aggressive and be like, oh, yeah, I saw you're posting on Instagram, do you need help with that? Like who are you, man? Like, go away from me. But you would like first build some connection. It's like, oh, so I heard a little accent when you were talking to that person, where you from, man? And you connect to the point where business will be the next step, Okay, so it's super, super important that you guys don't lead necessarily with business. Actually, stay as away as possible in the rapport building stage, which is instead of going straight to selling, build rapport while still preparing a smooth transition to business. And I'm going to show you exactly how we do this transition. Okay? So stage one is location. We tried a lot of different ways of connecting. Location is the number one thing that allows you to transition to business in a very smooth way, right? So stage one, location. So when they tell you, for example, oh, I'm actually originally from Italy, for example. Of course, if you're from there, like us, it will be a great point of connection. But it can be something completely unrelated, like, oh, we're actually hosting our mastermind in London. You see the person, yeah, from the UK. Oh, we're actually hosting our mastermind in London. And slightly, there might be a little bit of business related, because like mastermind clients and so on. You based in the UK or just visiting right now? Like, it literally has to feel like a genuine conversation when your goal is not to get some money out of that person as the first intention ever, okay? Now, stage two is recommendation, okay? And I'm going super like step by step because guys, I just want you to realize that we've tested thousands of conversation. Like we're giving you the sauce. We're giving you like after testing so many conversation, what allows us to book consistent calls. Any nice spots there that you would recommend? Again, not business related at all. It's just like, oh, we're visiting the UK for a mastermind. What place should we visit, right? So after that happens, there's stage three, networking. This is the one step that would allow you to start transitioning into business in a super smooth way, okay? So yeah, I heard London especially has some very nice places. We're also looking to meet more like-minded people and other entrepreneurs. How's the networking in London? So you see how like slowly, in a supernatural way, it could be a normal conversation. We're getting step by step into the more business things, okay? But it doesn't feel forced at all. We're just like having a conversation. And I mean, we're two business owners. It's very likely that eventually we're gonna start talking about business. So use like networking, okay? And then we get into the business talk stage. So the stage one of this is the business to content transition. We already put the right pillars in place to be able to do that. So that's gonna be super simple for us now. Oh, I appreciate the recommendation on places to network. When we get to London, we will definitely check them out and connect with you guys. What it is that you do, by the way? Like, supernatural question. What it is that you do, by the way, right? So networking, conversation, now we're from the same place. And then it's like, by the way, what it is that you do in London, right? And we're getting into the business aspect. Stage two is transition to paying. Someone would never pay you anything if there's not any type of pain in what it is that they're trying to achieve, okay? So, oh, that's cool. I imagine there's some cool place to film content out there as well around what you do. Seen a couple of guys in your industry, for example, in London as well. How long have you been running up the personal brand for? Guys, if you don't have a timeline, if you don't establish a timeline, you're never gonna be able to build urgency around what it is that they wanna solve. Because let's say you guys wanna grow on Instagram, right? One of the first questions that I would be asking you if it would be, in some sort of like a sales process would be, how long have you been trying to grow Instagram for? Because if you don't get that answer out of them, it could be something they just thought about it yesterday. And if there's not urgency, something that they want to achieve, people will never pull the trigger, okay? So how long have you been running up the personal brand for? Of course, change the variable based on it is what you do. How long have you been trying to speak on more stages? It's like, it can be, of course, whatever you do, okay? So for us is understanding how's content been going, how long they've been doing it for, and how is it currently working for them, okay? So now here, there will be a response from your lead. It will either be like, oh, it's amazing, I'm going on stage 25 times a week, no, not possible. Or it would be bad, like, oh, I'm actually really struggling with content, it's not going as I expected, okay? And we have a framework for each, if it's bad or if it's good, okay? If it's bad, which of course is the best case for you, because if it's bad, it means there's a real pain and you can help them with that, right? And you can dig deeper. You wanna ask them, and guys, like, of course you see it as a sales script, a sales process, but it's human nature. Like someone tells you, oh, it's actually not going how I expected. Oh, how come? Why is that, right? Why do you feel like that's happening? What have you tried to fix that? why do you feel like that hasn't worked out? Why do you feel like even though you try all that, it still hasn't fixed the issue, right? And here, when you go through these steps, and also, like, this is super, super important. We have an appointment setter that does this for us. Many of our clients start by doing them themselves and then eventually hire someone. You gotta go through these questions. So you gotta understand, like, in their opinion, if they know if there's a specific reason for that issue, if they have been trying to fix that, and why do they feel like it hasn't worked so far. But like, don't send them like 4 questions in a row. Like, it needs to feel natural, okay? It's simply like a normal sales process, and it needs to feel like a genuine conversation. Now, you will get to a point where the person will either say like, I don't know, right? I don't know why it hasn't worked out yet, or they will give you a reason. Like, sometimes people, and I'm sure as a, industry leaders in what it is that you do, sometimes you feel people saying like, oh yeah, it's because my setup is not optimized, or I don't have a camera yet. And you as an expert, you truly know that that is not the problem that they have. But sometimes when we're in the lookout for a solution, we might land on specific things and beliefs that we have, which are not actually correct. So, as someone that can truly help them, you need to challenge that thought, okay? And you need to provide value on what it is that they're currently thinking, okay? So, for example, challenge your thoughts, okay? It can be something like, well, have you ever wondered though, there's some very big personal brands that just use their phone to film? Why do you think like it's really the camera that you're missing? I'm simply challenging their belief, and I'm in a very natural way exposing a little the flaws in their way of thinking, because I'm the expert, so I'm probably way better at understanding what is their actual problem in the process, okay? And then we want to provide always some value, okay? And what I mean by that is like, you should not place the call as the way of like, oh yeah, I'll reveal everything in our call. Someone would not invest 1 hour of their time to jump on a call with you if they genuinely don't believe that you can help them. So in the DMs, we actually send them resources, value, messages, voice notes when we already start brainstorming and help them solve their problem. Because if we don't do that, like, imagine how much more likely if you talk to someone and they give you like very, very good advice, and after that they propose a call, would you be more likely to jump on a call with them rather than someone that just say like, yeah, let's just jump on a call, and you haven't talked about anything? You don't even know if they can help you, right? So provide value, and then super, super important, how long have you been having this issue that they talked about? It's like, I know I talked about it before, but so many people don't do this. In general, in the sales process, if you don't like identify the starting point of their pain, it's very, very hard to build urgency, okay? So once you go through this process, you are able to propose a call, because at that point you will be able to challenge their mindset, making them understand that they're not understanding the full picture, providing value, digging a little bit of pain in the sense of like, they know how long have they been having that issue for, so they're realizing it in their mind. And now a call is the next natural step. Because you help them, they know they have a problem, they know they've been struggling for quite a while on that problem, and the call is the next natural step. Yeah, and as we put here, inbound equivalent starts from here. Now, you see that initial part, it was like outbound, so we connected where they're from, we had that transition towards business. There will be a percentage of people, it will be more rare, but that are inbound. So it's like, hey man, I've been trying to grow on Instagram, I'm stuck. Inbound, they're actually reaching out to you. If it's inbound, you would simply start with the process from here, okay? So of course you wouldn't like really try to connect them on such a deep level to transition into business, because them as prospects, they brought up business in the first place, okay? Huh? Yeah. Now, if the leads response, okay, and what they say is actually good, so if you can go to the next slide. This is how you challenge them and trigger them a little bit. Like, guys, I know some things if you're not really, I don't know how familiar you are with the sales process. You need to realize if someone doesn't believe that they have a problem, they will never, never, never buy from you, okay? So when someone thinks that what they're doing is good and is going perfectly, we need to challenge that, okay? So this, of course, really depends on your industry. But let's say someone says like, oh yeah, content is actually going super well. I'm making like 100,000 views every single time I post, right? Now, if we double down on that, it's like, oh man, that's great. Like, why would that person work for us? Like, work with us, right? They don't really have urgency pain involved. So what you do is, oh, that's nice. You must be doing, for example, in our case, we help people monetize. So you must be doing at least 50,000 a month currently through organic, right? Now, many times that won't happen because if they're consuming, like think about it, these are people that are following you. If you're consuming the content of someone helping you solve a problem, like you wouldn't be in the perfect condition. So we want to challenge them, okay? And you want to say like, oh, you must be doing, for example, for Nashin or for someone like you, might be, you must be at least landing one podcast a month, on one big stage a month. Oh, well, actually, I'm not. Oh, how come? Why is that? You know, and we go back to digging up. Now, if they say yes, okay, we have this whole framework that you guys can follow, which is like, well, you know, nice stuff. Of course, match your language. We're very like Gen Z in the way we speak, but good stuff. What's the next steps looking like for you to scale up the content? Okay, so the leads response, scale up to 6 figures and make the content grow even more, for example. When you say grow even more with the content, what do you mean by that? Now, this is a principle. From every single message, guys, I could like spend 20 times. We don't have it. But there's a principle involved in every single message. Do you guys think that when someone says, I want to grow even more, are they being specific? Are they being clear? No, not at all, right? You always want to extract something clear from it because if it's like fluff, it's very hard to handle that, right? So when you say grow even more with the content, what do you mean by that? Like we actually want to make their goal tangible. Because I even think about it as a coach. If you work with someone, you need to have crystal clear in mind what it is that they want to achieve, right? I mean, it's the exercise that we were doing before too. Like public speaking, okay, how does that look like? How many podcasts? We were doing exactly that process. If someone says like, just want to grow, what does grow mean, right? What does grow mean to you, for you? So this is going to actually give you ammunition and things to know about the prospect, what they actually want to achieve. So get more leads, coming through the door and produce content faster. So, you know, hitting 6 figures is easy. Oh, nice, man. And how many leads are you getting right now? Again, we have a dream outcome. To be able to, you know, dig enough pain and get them on a call, we need to understand what are they at when it comes to the process. So we know the top of the mountain. Are they at the beginning of the mountain? Are they half of the mountain? We need to understand both their goal and where they're currently at. Okay? So here, again, we need to trigger them a little bit because we need to make them realize that they're not where they're supposed to be, okay? So let's say they say like, oh, around 12 leads a day. And let's say they said they want to make 6 figures a month. There's a big gap there. So you need to phrase it in a way that not necessarily like sounds disappointing, but like in the sense of like, oh, okay, you're still missing quite a bit of time there, okay? Quite a bit of volume. Where are most of your leads coming from, okay? So we understand that, and what does your organic strategy look like if you were if you were to break it down as a funnel concept? Okay, so this is a very dynamic part of the conversation. We need to find some pain point or issue with what they're doing and dig into it. And of course, guys, if you genuinely like start talking to a person, they're doing way better than you. It's very rare if you're like an industry leader, but like you guys should go through this process if you genuinely believe that you can help that person. But I guarantee you there's certain prospects that they get stuck in this way of like thinking that they're doing everything perfect, that they're supposed to, that they're doing everything they're supposed to do, when in reality they're actually missing quite a lot to be able to achieve their goals. Okay, so all of this process is for us to truly understand their pain point, their issue, and more importantly, as a coach, understand what would be the process that you have to go through with that person to actually help them. Because if you stay in the fluffy, region of things, you're never going to be able to understand how you can truly help them. Okay? Now, when it comes to booking the call, which is a super important part, you need to get it to a point where it's the next natural step. So let's say I got to the point where even with a harder conversation, I got to the point where you told me that you want to, hit this specific revenue a month. You're getting these leads, and I'm giving you value. I'm giving you, you're getting 15 for our data and all of our clients. You should be at least getting 150 a day. So we provided value. We got specific things involved. As you go through it, you're going to notice that someone gets more and more involved in wanting to get help from you. Why? Because they have all these doubts now that the conversation brought up, and you're able to one by one helping them solve these problems. So they're going to start becoming more and more involved in the conversation, and you need to get to the point where booking the call is the very next natural step. Because imagine we just talk for an hour straight, and I give you a ton of value in what it is that you're trying to achieve and solve. If I ask you, by the way, we've been talking for like 30 minutes now, there's a lot of cool things that we can go over. What do you think? We can jump on a quick call tomorrow. I can go even more in depth on the things that I would work on. And then if we want to do it together, I can explain how that would look like. If not, no stress, just value for you. Like, why would you say no to that? Like, someone just helped you for like 30 minutes, 1 hour, multiple days sometimes straight, gave them ton of value, and then the booking the call is so simple because it's like, is the next natural step for them to spend even more time with you and get even more value, right? And I don't know how familiar you are with sales calls, but you should never force a pitching. Like, if you handle the sales call in the right way, the prospect will ask you about how working together will look like. Like, that's what is supposed to happen, okay? So we're providing a ton of value in the DMs, we're getting them to a point where the call is the next natural step, and now we get to the post-booking process. Now, a lot of people here, they make a terrible mistake. We just build rapport. We connected on many different things, okay? And now a lot of people, what they do is they book a call with a prospect and poof, they disappear. Let's say they book a call in 2 days from now, disappear, right? Why is that so bad? You literally just prove to that person that the conversation was purely transactional. Purely transactional. Because you got what they wanted, you got what you wanted out of them, and now it's like, I'm done, I'm gonna sell to you on a call. That's one of the biggest mistakes that you can do, and that's why we're so big on the post-booking process. We truly believe in it, because if you have a casual conversation from the moment where they book the call with you, all the way to when we're gonna jump on a call with them, you're gonna build trust and make them feel like this isn't just a business transaction. And it's supposed to feel that way. Like, when you're buying from someone, you wanna feel reassured, you wanna feel like you made the right choice, you wanna feel like there's a real connection with the person that you would work with, right? And this post-conversation will allow you to do that, okay? So stage one of that is to build extra personal trust. This actually makes them show up way more, okay? Because if you're, again, just disappearing, you're proving transactional, and the trust is gonna be super low. So you can do it by sharing some extra personal stuff. What are your project of coming to London? So, saw the booking coming through, looking forward to the call. By the way, I know you said you're based in London. You've been living there for your whole life. It's like, I want you to imagine appointment setting as a sandwich. It's a sandwich where it's like rapport, problem, pain, booking the call, rapport again. So you're not making them feel like, oh, again, it was pure transactional. Like it was in pure transaction. Now we get back to rapport, okay? Continue casual conversation and don't talk about business. This is actually super important. If possible, of course, to build as much trust as possible. The stage two, you want to build incentive to show up. Do you guys know, by the way, like very quickly, what's your show up rate to sales calls? Like, what's that? 70%. 70%. Okay. 95. That's amazing. Because that's because you work with us. No, I'm kidding. No. So when it comes to the show up rate, we want to bring it at least above 90. Okay. And if you build this, like, just think about that, man. It's like you have a 70%. That's actually one of those like levers that once you fix it, let's say you bring it to 70 to 90, potentially like a 20% more in closing if you're really good at what you do, right? It's like, it's such that final step, just making someone show up after everything happened, that it's a no-brainer to fix that. Okay, so by doing this, you're going to be able to get them on a call. So we nurture them through content before the call. Okay, so we send them our DSL, it's not really like our goal is to sell them there, is to explain our process. So how we're structured, what we do, okay? So, oh, we have a video you can watch. I'll prepare you for the call and save us a bunch of time on questions you might have. So give this one a watch. In a super chill, natural way, they're gonna spend less time on a call. They're gonna have more clarity, okay? They're gonna be more bought into you because they're not jumping on a call with confusion around what it is that you do. They're already gonna be nurtured and trained, okay? So that's why it's super, super important for them to send the VSL that we have, okay? By the way, when I say VSL, it's a video where we explain the kind of results that we got for our clients, how we usually work with them, okay, what's our process, just educating them on what it is that you do. Then you wait 5 to 6 hours and you ask them what are their thoughts on the video. Because number one, you're verifying that they actually watched it. And already that can give you some objections that might come later on the call. Because imagine someone watched the video and I'm like, oh yeah, I found it valuable, but it's like, oh, I thought it was actually a 2-hour a week thing, not a 5-hour a week, right? Genuinely, you can already start having some ammunition and an understanding of what might be the potential objections of them working with you, okay? Then we send testimonials right after. Guys, someone will never be nurtured enough. Like, think about it from their perspective. For you, like you're the coach, you're the offer provider. It's so easy for you to think like, oh, of course they want to work with me. I don't know last time you invested into someone, but we want to make sure that they know what they're actually doing, right? So if we're able to send them testimonials, and even more powerful, if you're able to send them testimonials of people that you actually helped and work with that are similar to them, that's so powerful, okay? So I'm just thinking out right now, but I'm sure there's families that maybe have the same amount of children, right? Or aged kids. Like if you're actually able to send them a testimonial, just like them, they're gonna see themselves in there in that transformation.
I do after what I networking with you.
Love it. Love it. All right. So ask what their thoughts are on the testimonials. Again, sounds familiar? Yes, because it's the same thing that we did for the VSL. But again, that will make other objections come up. Like, guys, do you see how much of a process we have before they even jump on a call? That's why we have a 65 close rate and so many people, paying up front. It's not because we're magicians, it's because we have a process before. It's because they get on a call and they're not like, so you are Brian, right? What is that you? No, they know what we do. They know the person that we helped. They know someone similar to them that we helped in the past. They're so nurtured that now the call, I want you to imagine the sales call as you being a waiter. Like in a call, you should not be the salesman, you should be the waiter. You should be collecting the order. They already made up their mind. Because of the value you provided, because of the content you created, because of the testimonials, the VSL, the call is just the next natural step to, okay, yeah, this is actually how it works. You have any last questions? Beautiful, let's start. It should feel that way. And if you have this process dialed in, it will, okay? Now, to increase the show-up rate, reminder, okay? We both send reminders via email, but also via DMs. So we have a 24 hours reminder. It has to be super, super chill. Like just a heads up, 24 hours till the call, speak soon, okay? And then we just send a last one 6 hours before. So 6 hours to go, man. Are you ready? And do you have the Zoom link as well for that time? Just making sure that everything is set up. Like, it might sound ridiculous, but sometimes people don't show up because they're not finding the Zoom link. Like, guys, you created the content for months. You finally nurtured them. You spoke in the DMs. You don't want someone that doesn't show up because they don't have the link, okay? So let's make sure that they have it. All right, so this is A to Z. Of course, it's a little bit of a rundown. Okay, got it. Yeah, we actually have a full overview map of this process. Yeah, we can also share that with you guys, so it's like you actually remember this stuff and you can apply it. But yeah, just 2 or 3 quick questions if you guys have it, and then we're gonna pass to the last presentation. Yeah?
How does this change the LinkedIn? Because a lot of it, you can see on the profile, is much more direct, and there is a different, nurturing process. Some things I can see that, but a lot of it, context dependent or platform dependent.
Yeah, so we're actually testing this process on LinkedIn right now because it's something that we're like trying to grow this year because we're very big on Instagram and on LinkedIn. You would be surprised by, of course, there's like certain demographic that you need to be, aware of. So, like the ages, if maybe it's much older, you gotta like change the conversation, the tone a little bit. But one thing that you would be surprised is because LinkedIn is so direct, and everybody's kind of like pitching themselves and talking about achievements. Bringing it to this human level can actually many times give you an unfair advantage over everyone else, just straight pitch. Because people are getting so fed up with, okay, this person is reaching out to me because you want to see if I'm a potential good fit and work with me. If you're able to, stand on that human level first and connect, and just if you see that they're a right fit and after you have a conversation, they're going to see you completely different than everybody else. Yeah?
You ask it.
You. Yeah.
I've got 3 questions. I just fire them all at you.
Okay.
The first one is, how long does it take you to ramp up an appointment setter when you hire them?
To train them, you said? I would say to really become good, 3 months.
And then who manages them after they're good?
Yeah, so as of right now, we're working with, first we train them initially, then we hired an appointment setter manager. So we can speed up the entire process. So there's someone that spends daily time with them on the chats, making sure they're executing in the right way.
How much do you pay them? What's the commission?
I can tell you later.
What the qualification criteria? So for us, we'll have certain revenue. So basically, you get to the SDR appointment, set it. You've got to get these things out of the chat to get them on a call. How do you guys do that? So that it's like a checklist of things they need to tick off as they go through the conversation.
You mean before they? Oh yeah, so they. Yeah, it's like.
Hit a tiny bit this part just because we are in a bit of a tight schedule. We can maybe go a little bit over it also tomorrow in case, but we basically pre-qualified people also with a form.
Yeah, so there's a form.
Wait, let me just find it quick.
So there's a form the moment. There's a form the moment we book the call to make sure that they're qualified. We ask them more questions about what they do, the current revenue that they're at with the business.
And then you just delete the ones that are unqualified.
That is correct, yeah. Or also if we say that maybe the conversation was promising, but then it's low. So you mentioned you have lower than the minimum payment plan number. Is that correct? You make sure that they can actually afford with you. Because if not, you're just wasting your time jumping with people that are not a good fit for you. Yeah, of course. Yeah, there you go.
How did you find your appointment setter? And you guys nurtured me on LinkedIn, but as soon as I basically followed Norshin's post, and then from then I followed you guys, and then in your DMs to me, you said, I saw that you followed me from Norshin's post.
Yeah.
How did you know that?
Because our processes are dialed.
Then I was like, oh, these guys are spies.
Connections. You can see the connections that we had.
Our appointment setter check all of the notifications all of the time, basically. Also on Instagram, it's they check all of the likes that we're getting, all of the comments that we're getting, all of the new followers that we're getting, all of the time, basically, full time. And
pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's very fast.
And how
they're incentivized because the faster you message people, the
speed to lead.
And so the better results you get. There's studies around this. If you can physically reach someone in the first minute, that's the highest point of conversion, literally. Even with the people that, if you have any form in which they put in your phone number or stuff like that, if you can have someone literally full time just on that, so that they call 30 seconds after they fill out the form, you have 80% more chance.
Again, it's urgency, it's intention. We have so many distractions. So the faster you are, the higher your chances of working with that person.
And how did you find your appointment center?
Through our audience. So we have specific story sequences. I'm going to send it to you. We have specific story sequences that we use to hire editors, appointment setter from our audience. And then we make them go through a Google form and we collect application. So we don't waste any time in hiring because we're using our audience to do that. And your audience is going to already be trained around who you are, what your offer is, what you stand for. So it's also super, super easy for them to be aligned with you.
So, quick question with all this, because you've got DMs going in different places. Do you use, is this where you start bringing in an AI agent to help pull it all together in one space? Because I'm guessing the appointment set of the DM person sounds like one person.
Yeah.
But it's not them on the call with the client?
No, I'm actually jumping on the calls.
So you know, but you've got to know what all that previous conversation is.
So
you don't want to repetition.
They have a specific form, post-booking form that the appointment setter goes through. So I see on my side on Discord, can you actually show it real quick? I see on my side on Discord all the information that I need to have around the person. So pre-call notes, I know exactly what they're currently doing, what they're struggling with, the exact sentences that they said during the conversation.
Right, so they do bring that across, because I had this situation that someone went through, it wasn't you guys, but they're following a very similar thing.
Yeah.
That there was a DM conversation, they
Yeah.
even sent like a personalised video.
Yeah.
And then the person who ended up being on the call basically only had that information from the form.
Yeah.
I didn't fill in fully because I'd had a full
Right,
conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got very pissed off with
Yeah,
it.
I can
I
understand.
put the phone down within
Yeah.
10 minutes.
100%.
So that's what I was wondering, how you make sure
Yeah.
that you don't do
We-
that. Because I was like, well,
Yeah.
no, you made out you were helping an expert,
Yeah.
and now you've just dropped.
You need
Yeah.
to have like really good processes in place, and at the end of the day,
Yeah.
also how we structure the compensation for the appointment setter, make sure that this is in place.
And
Appointment
that's what I
setters
was
get paid.
wondering,
Yeah.
if AI agents can help do that. So you're
Potentially,
not-
but if you have a person that's going through the conversation, they have a lot of context. So if they need to give us even more context, more specific context, they might even just send us a voice
Yeah.
note before
So
the
it's the
call,
power of a good
so that we
appointment.
know.
Yeah.
it. And the other thing is like the appointment setter gets paid if the call closed.
Right.
So they
Yeah.
are just incentivized to give us all of the information to
Yeah.
make sure to show up properly to the call.
The appointment setter, some people give a base pay, depends how much volume and how much you're processing in sales, but our appointment setter just gets a 5% commission of the sale.
Yeah, so that's the linchpin in the process, basically.
Exactly. Especially the closer you are to the call, the best, like the more dialed in your system should be. It's like what I was telling about the show up rate. It's like it's such an easy fix, and you can like increase 10-20% the business just by fixing that one thing. So before I jump on a call, I need to make sure that I have enough context.
I'm thinking actually of going through this section because I have like 10 minutes.
Okay.
otherwise I wouldn't
We
be
can
able
use
to
that
just wait
tomorrow.
I will just do
Okay.
it tomorrow. So
Yeah.
we can actually go to the follow-up as well. So it's,
Yeah.
so we can wrap it up with this.
Simone?
What's the percentage of inbound versus outbound calls you guys get?
Yeah, actually it's mostly outbound, just because we want to, like outbound leads might become inbound in the future, but it's like we just want to fasten the sales process, of course, by reaching out to them. I would say that it's probably like 70-30, 70 outbound, 30 inbound.
Have you noticed that you convert easier inbound?
Not really. Not really, because if they get to a point, I would argue that outbound sometimes it's a little easier because they build so much rapport before the call. Okay, let me quickly go through the systematic follow-up structure, and then we can have maybe some other questions. So this is if you jumped on a call, maybe your sales process is not fully dialed in yet. You really wanted to work with that person, but they said no on the call. There's still an opportunity for them to work with you in the future. So it's a wasted opportunity if we don't use this follow-up sequence, okay? So follow up, couple hours after the call. Hey man, it was a great call with you. I know things didn't move forward as we would have liked, but I know your issue was XYZ, okay? So I do feel like I can help you with getting that fixed so you can get on the right track and start scaling your content properly. I have a bunch of resources and tools that I use to fix the exact issue, and my clients use them as well, so I don't mind sending them over. How often would you want me to send them over? Once a week or every couple of days? So we're simply like showing ourselves as someone that, and we have all these resources. Like we can genuinely, sometimes guys, you need to understand that you really want to work with someone, you genuinely believe you can help them, but maybe they're not in the right mental space to work, they're not, the right moment for them. But if you have the capabilities and the tools to help them, and you use them to nurture them even more, they will get to a point where they're like, you know what, this guy helped me so much. So we're asking for permission, and we're asking them like with what cadence they would like to receive resources from us, okay? So set expectation. Then send a resource for their current issue. So let's say, we actually identify it was appointment setting. We just created this super in-depth 40-minute YouTube video on it. There you go, okay? Then we want to ask what are their thoughts. Again, these things repeat about the resource. So what are your thoughts about after watching the video? I might be able to send over the next video that adds on to that and gives you more actionables to work on. Like if you guys are able to continuously provide value to this person and keep them on top of their mind, right? That you are there for them to help, they're going to be so much likely to work with you, okay? Ask what they're going to implement from that video moving forward to fix the issue. Guys, super important. Now, we usually go about, of course, when they reach out to us and it's like, yeah, I would actually like that. on average, we send like 1 resource per week until like a 30-day period. So it's around 4 resources. Now, if the leads respond, okay, so if there's no response, let me know and I'll send more if it was helpful. And you only send another free resource based on the cadence you agreed on, okay? Because you guys should never feel desperate. Like, we're continuously talking to them. Keep in mind, they agreed with them wanting even more value from us. And we keep just keeping ourselves on top of their mind, and we keep on providing value, okay? I mean, at the end of the day, they signed up for it, right? So continue providing value based on the cadence we agreed on, okay? If they respond and they give thoughts on the video, we send the next resource, and we follow up with the lead end of the week and send another video or checking in. And we repeat till day 30 for every lead, okay? And this process allows us to truly nurture them and again, getting them to think about us in the long term and potentially work together in the future. After 4 weeks, we want to check on them, okay? Because again, many times someone might tell you, I don't know, did it ever happen to you on a call, which is like, you know, man, everything sounds great. I just want to try it myself and see where I can get a loan. Did it ever happen to you guys? Yeah. Right. You want to actually check how's the progress for them. Like, okay, they said they want to do it alone. How's it actually progressing? So how's the progress on fixing the issue? Okay? If they say that it's going good, acknowledge it and then ask them what part of the thing about the resource helped them with that. So again, you tie back and that kind of gives them dopamine hits because many times if you send them the resource with that cadence, you actually help them achieve that result, at least partially. So you basically tying back also partially the success that they had based on the input, okay, that you provided. So, oh, nice, good to hear you finally fixed it. What helped you the most out of the resource that I sent to point out the direction of fixing XYZ issue? By the way, you're doing market research through this whole process, if you really think about it. Then propose a call as a way to get everything else dialed in and make use of this momentum they have. Because if you tie it back and they actually agree that it's like, yeah, man, this resource actually helped me a ton in fixing this issue. Amazing, man. I actually would love to jump on a new call if you're done with it, and you can dial everything in to get into even the next steps, right? Because again, we're not just randomly proposing it. We were able to tie it back to the resources that we send them. If it's going bad, acknowledge them and then position the call as a means to get more clarity and really figure this out. Yeah, man, I imagine that's frustrating not being able to get this fixed even after 1 month of trying it yourself. What do you say we jump on another call and see if there's an opportunity this time to work on this together? Right? They're always making the choice where you're being there for them. Call booked, rejects calls or leave you on scene. Potentially, if you see that it's still a person that you want to follow up, you can repeat another 30-day follow-up sequence with more resources and follow up with the lead end of the week. What are your thoughts after watching XY video? And so on, right? Again, guys, you need to be able to like read the room, read the chat, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes there's people that actually like still want to try a little bit themselves, but they partially want your help. If that's the case, do it. If you see that it's not a person that you want to work with and maybe because of their mindset, of course, you're not forced to do this, okay? Now, unqualified booking follow-up sequence, it will be very, very short. You should never hop on a call with someone that is unqualified, right? Why would you, right? You're trying to help a specific ICP, and a specific ICP is someone that can afford your service. So if they're not the case, then you shouldn't. Your time is the most precious asset as a business owner, so don't waste 1 hour with someone that you cannot help. Yeah, use booking form. I was quickly saying this before. If you guys try to book a call with us, cheeky. Just kidding. If you guys try to book a call with us, you can go through the process, but it's super simple. Like we just ask what they do, how much they're currently doing in revenue, and how much would they be planning to invest in working together. Okay. I know a lot of you guys, it's something that I hear all the time, are a little worried or even scared about like be pretty straightforward with this information. It's like, guys, we're a business talking to another business, trying to help them. If you don't get an understanding of what's their current situation, and if they have the resources to get help from you, like this doesn't play to your advantage. Just trying to keep it more indirect. We're both business owners. We know how the process works, okay? And then if it's too low, I saw you mentioned you have lower than the minimum payment plan. Is that correct? We just want to make sure that they can actually be a good fit. And then you can see, hey, no worries. I don't think this will be a good for you at the moment. However, you can also let me know when you're ready for this. You need at least number to get started working with you, okay? You can still follow up with free resources if you see potential. Let's say someone that is on the come up, you see they're very good at what they do, but their business is not at the point that it needs to be yet to work together. You can also always follow up with some free resources and get them to a point where that they can afford your services. Yeah. All right, guys, any questions on this? Yeah. Yeah. Wait, who raised? I don't know who raised first. I think, yeah.
So, how do you manage the Instagram inbox at scale? Do you use the software?
Actually use the
yeah.
tags inside of the Instagram inbox. We have some resources for that. We can talk about it or like share it with you. We basically use what?
How do you connect to CRM?
We don't. Our appointment setters have access to our Instagram.
Yeah. So we have.
Yeah, but we don't really use a CRM.
Yeah, we.
Like we use a CRM then for the sales calls in the sense of we keep track of the leads that are actually coming through the call and everything, but we use an internal system inside of the Instagram inbox directly to mark leads as like what position they are in the process. Like for example, if they actually
Yeah, we use Instagram.
No, like directly on Instagram, the native function. You have a native function that you can label chats with different tags, and we have a system for that so that it's like the ones that already booked a call, the ones that are you have a conversation open with, and so on. So it's a sort of a CRM organized inside of the Instagram inbox with the native tool, so that you can then just filter directly in the inbox.
Yeah, we use Instagram as our CRM essentially.
But another thing like that I just want you guys to realize like how much there is in this system. Like how much do we make out of each and every single lead? Like that's one of the reasons why we're able to literally like 4x the business in such a short span of time. Because before our appointment setting process was just kind of like have a conversation, we see if we book a call. How much more nuances are there here, right? Like we'll give you also the recording of this call, this part, and like in general the access to these resources. Like I want you to study it because more often than not, the difference between making okay money and making a lot of money is in all of these small processes dialed in. Like, did you see how much it goes into this? There's the report, there's the conversation, there's the post-booking process, there's the follow-up, there's the follow-up if they don't actually close, there's the follow-up even if they're not qualified.
Yeah.
Right? How much do we make out of each and every single lead that we get?
I mean, I'm just telling you to challenge you guys, but if I have this process and you guys don't, and we get both the same 100, same leads, who do you think would convert more? Us, simply because of the systems that we built, right? So it's like, I want you to go through this mindset shift, which is what Alessia was sharing right now. It's like, many times we're like, more leads, I need more leads. You can actually do so much more with the leads that you currently have with the right systems.
There's a question.
Have you considered using a score app or an assessment to qualify your customers as a screening tool instead of this multi-stage process or in addition to it?
The thing is, like, our appointment setter is trained at being super fast with it and being there for the leads. And what's better than someone's word and then actually having a direct conversation with them? Like, we didn't really, it's very rare that we have a problem where I jump on a call and I end up like knowing that this person is qualified and in reality is not, because we can very clearly spot if someone is unqualified before jumping on a call with them because of having a direct conversation with them. And
a lot of them, like a lot of it is also just asking the right questions. If you ask the right question, you can immediately spot if they are the right target avatar for what you do. More often than not, right? Especially if you know what the requisites are for a program like yours, right? So that's really how it goes.
Yeah, Charlie.
Just one question about like the providing value to the workflow. Let's say the appointment centers, they're not you guys, they don't have the same knowledge.
Right.
What do you do there? Like, do you have to jump in when providing the value?
No, it's extremely rare that like I never have to jump in. So first of all, they're very good at connecting them to the right resources that we already created. So think about it more almost like a CSM, right? That is able to pass them to the right resources. But many times it's like this person was following us for months and months on our Instagram. He's passionate. It's called Jonathan. Jonathan is passionate about our content. He also wants to get into content creation. So that's why we're such a huge fan of hiring from your audience. Yeah. Because I'd say in a couple of months you hire from your audience, they're probably going to be passionate about AI. Because why would they follow you if not, right? Yeah. So also our appointment started with time. Jonathan really became good at speaking like us and being able to give a ton of value when it comes to content creation.
Yeah, another thing is like really finding the right team members and really building the right incentives. As I was saying, it's like he's getting paid in percentage to the calls that close, right? So he has a lot of incentive in terms of making this work. And so the moment in which we talk and we're like, okay, you need to master really how to communicate like us, he will be like, okay, I'm gonna watch all of you guys' YouTube videos. I'm gonna watch all of you guys' sales calls. And he's happy to do that, not only because also from the sales calls he learns more about our prospects, how we speak, how we handle the objections, but also because that way he's able to talk how Brian would talk. And so then people have a very natural transition. I think even some of you here had a conversation with our appointment setter and thought it was actually Brian.
Yeah. I knew
So-
it wasn't, but I was used to it.
Yeah.
You are good at it. Many people think. Yeah, please.
I'm curious, this is more about sauce than actual technique, but what is a disqualifying criteria for you guys? Like, how do you know, like, if a person is a client you actually want to work with?
Yeah.
Is there an asshole tax, for example?
There's
Is
certain.
there like a disc profile?
No,
you
it's
want to
true.
work with?
So first of all, there's certain industries that we would never work with, out of personal like betting, other things that we don't like. So it actually needs to be like an offer and a niche that we're interested in, and we genuinely believe it. In some way, it's at least good for the world, right? It's not like we would never work with someone like doing betting, for example. Then there's the monetarily qualification, of course, because why jump on someone that cannot afford your services? They're not for you. And then during the process of the DMs, but also in the calls, I wouldn't say it's common, but it happens that I don't get to the point where I pitch them. Like if I have a conversation and I'm not enjoying this conversation at all, and I need to speak to this person for 6 months, you cannot pay me enough to do that. I'm sorry, right? Like I'm super glad that like basically with time, especially all of our clients are becoming our friends, and we hang out, and it's like we want to have that type of relationship. So if someone is not a good fit for us, it's fine. There's going to be a next one.
At the end of the day, if you think about it, you're also building a community, right?
Yeah.
All of you here as well. It's like if we had people that were really misaligned with our values and with also all of you guys' values that are inevitably also because of what I was saying before, when you're intentional about what you share and what your values are, who you are, how you position yourself, you're going to attract similar people. The same exact thing goes for who you attract and then the community that you build. We were literally laughing about this because of the retreat that we were at right now. We had a very similar conversation about this in which we were talking and we were like all pretty, I would argue, successful business owners. And we were talking about like what cars we used to go around. And like, oh, I have like a beat up Kia Rio. Another guy was like, oh, I just take the one of my girlfriend. I don't even have a car because like of this thing of the guy that started this whole coaching and this whole mastermind and naturally also attracted us. A lot of his values are not necessarily tied to material things. What I was saying also before of the fact of as much as I'm a fan of the Lambo, I will probably not show you in the content because I don't want that to be who I am, right? I don't want to communicate that to people because those are not really the values that I care about the most, especially in the people that I try to attract. Otherwise, I would just attract people that are into materialistic things. And so that's really how we see it.
How many people in your team? You've got you two, you've got 2 appointment setters.
One appointment setter,
Yeah.
one appointment setter manager.
So 2 of us, 1 appointment setter, 1 full-time editor, 1 full-time VA, and then there's 2 guys, which is an agency though, they're not really part of our team, that helps us manage our appointment setter. Yeah, so I would say like 5 and then 2 extra, including us.
And you said about Instagram tags, like how do you put tags on Instagram DMs? Like it's like when you have like a certain reach of followers, because I cannot do it in my DM.
It's a business account, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I'm in business also. But you pay extra, not like the profile, but actually you pay to Instagram the traffic, or
Do you mean for the tags in the inbox you were saying?
Yeah.
Like the features as that? I'm pretty sure you have it in general if you convert the account to a business account. Might be maybe a meta verified feature, but meta verified is also 100% worth it. It's like you have the badge there and it costs like a few bucks a month. It's like that can become, like if you think about it also in terms of ROI, it's like how much more does it give you back? So it's like if you literally just close one person, you pay, I don't know, like 100 times the subscription of it.
People
Yeah.
reply way more to if you're
Yeah,
verified.
that's also another thing. It's like if you see everybody in your inbox and maybe your inbox is even a little bit flooded if you see someone with a check.
Yeah, if it's not that, either updating the app if you haven't done it for a while, or I would explore the settings too. I don't know if you ever went to the settings of the DMs.
It's just under add label, if you're looking for it. If you press and hold on the conversation, it says add label, and then you can put
what stage is that based on?
We can look into that also after, for sure.
And the second question was like, if you don't use a CRM, what happens if someone contacted you also, or LinkedIn or through email? How do you like, you tell them to go to Instagram so you can actually manage it till they become like till they the call?
They would continue, like if it's from LinkedIn, Jonathan will continue the conversation in LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So when they reach out, email, it's pretty rare for us. Mostly maybe referrals happen via email. In that case, we just get them.
I mean, of course, like then if you do have a much broader appeal on different platforms and a lot of different conversation, then it makes sense to have a proper CRM. Right now, it's also like we always try to not overcomplicate systems when not needed, because it's like also if you think about it, especially for your team members, if they have to go through an excess of friction to make their job, like to do their job properly, it usually doesn't really help. So it's like unless it's really necessary, we try not to implement extra stuff. So for us, for example, it's like the vast majority are on Instagram anyway. And even if there are some on LinkedIn, there's a lot of separation usually. It's like the people on LinkedIn are the people on LinkedIn, and they are not on Instagram more often than not. And so, you know, and the other thing is also right now we still have just one team member that does that. So if we would see the same person 2 times, then he would most likely recognize them as well.
What's your thoughts on posting posts on Instagram?
Not good thoughts.
If you think about it from a logical perspective, it's like if a video didn't perform well and you boost it, it's just a video that people don't like to watch that you're showing to more people, right? And if it's a video that performed well and you actually want to do it the proper way, then you might want to run it as an ad, but that's a separate thing in the sense of you should never do it with the boost post like on Instagram directly. If you want to do it properly, you can do it through the Meta Business Manager, and if you have connected an ad account, then you can actually run the specific post as an ad. That's okay, that you can do actually if it's a post that performed well again, because it's like wouldn't really make much sense to put budget on something that just didn't work. So it's basically, again, like just showing to more people something that they didn't like.
Yeah, no, like, of course I was kidding. If done in the smart way, can be actually good. The problem is a lot of people is like, you know how we were at a buffet before? Let's say there's 2 things, and everybody goes to get chicken and not fish, right? And fish is there, like nobody wants it, and you're going there, it's like, you want some? No, you would bring more chicken out, right? It's the same concept. So you can like boost with the Meta Business. The posts are getting you a lot of followers and leads. That's actually a very smart move. Like one of our clients, Franco, he was averaging like 500 followers a day, 500 new followers a day. He started putting just like $10-20 a day on that post, and now he's getting like 1,500 followers a day with just like $10-15. So that can be very, very powerful, but if you pick the right piece of content. Yeah, Charlie?
Wait, is that from the boost post or from Meta Business?
From Meta.
Still from Meta, yeah.
Not the boost, okay.
No, because the other thing is on Meta you have a lot more targeting options. You can actually select who you're targeting with the post. So once again, it's like we want to talk to specific people. Whenever it makes sense to you have a lot more control. You still have some settings in the boosting, but it's not really the same. For this presentation, we're going to talk about the 6 limiting beliefs that we removed to become one of the biggest personal brands in our industry in the past 2 years. Now, the first thing that I want you guys to understand is that as much as this might not sound practical, because everybody is usually, when we mention mindset or we mention, like the limiting beliefs or any of these things, they're like, yeah, but I want the tactics. Like I want to know the technicals of how you actually did it. But the truth is, every single time that we have major changes in our business, it always happened because something shifted in how we thought and how we saw things. And so I drew this very simple graph to represent it. Really how it happens over time, more often than not, is that you're stagnant for a very long period of time, and then all of a sudden things change. And more often than not, it's not really about the tactics, it's about how you change your perception and how you start seeing things differently. And so what I want to share with this presentation is really some mindset shifts that really made us change our approach towards certain things in content or in business that really made a big difference in our business. So this literally triggered the biggest changes, as I was mentioning. The first one is about unqualified leads, okay? So we see this all the time, and we hear this all the time from coaches, this idea of my leads are not good, okay? My content keeps on attracting unqualified leads. I just have people in my DMs that want free stuff. There's nobody that can actually afford my services. This is the classic thing. We hear it all the time. Now, I do want to mention there's content and content. We talked about it. You have to be very intentional with what you choose to share to be able to attract the right people. But one mindset shift that I want you to go through is this. I was literally going back and forth with ChatGPT to understand some actual data. And so I was sharing, okay, we have a program that's in the 5 figures. How many people realistically will be able in the world to afford that, right? And it comes out that it's around 3 to 7% of the population that would probably be able to afford this without going through extreme financial strains. So what I want you to understand is that more often than not, we just underestimate by a lot the amount of inputs that we actually need to put in. Because if I looked at your inbox, if I looked at the people that you're attracting with your content, and you had 100 people, and out of those 100 people, only, let's say on average, 5 would be qualified, most of you would see that, would look at that, and would think, my content is attracting completely the wrong people. Like I'm literally attracting people that are completely unqualified. But you lack to consider the context and the fact that, of course, if you want to position yourself as a certain type of authority at a certain level and with certain types of program, with certain types of pricing, there's inevitably a limitation in terms of numbers as well, right? We don't want to appeal to everybody. We just want to appeal to those very specific people that can afford our services and that will be actually great clients that we can get results for, right? And so more often than not, if you can go back to the, more often than not, you do have qualified leads, right? You just don't know how to convert them. So this is what we were talking about yesterday. When we showed you and we broke down our appointment setting process, you saw to which extent that goes, how in-depth it is, how much do we use follow-up, how much do we break down the entire process starting from rapport, and we have an entire conversation that sometimes lasts days to be able to convert these people. Because it's like, I can promise you, yes, we attract a lot of people because we build this personal brand, but you will be surprised. There's not that many conversations that we actually have on a week-to-week basis. It's just that we go to this extent because we understand that inevitably for who we want to appeal, because we don't want to appeal to everybody, we just want to appeal to certain caliber of people, it's going to be limited numbers of people inevitably that can also afford our services, and that's okay. But you also have to be conscious of these numbers so that you have the right expectations in mind. This is really important. This is really the key point here, having the right expectations in mind. Because if you think, I need to have 50% of qualified people from my content, then you're always going to be, well, the content is not working. You're always going to be thinking that. But if you look at it even from a data perspective, this is actually, I kind of reverse engineer it, right? I didn't even know what the numbers were, but I was like, I'm sure that people overestimate the number of qualified leads that they should have, right? And by looking it up, I was like, well, that makes sense. It's like, for a certain price point, inevitably, you're going to talk to very little numbers of people, right? So really, really, really important, having the right expectations in mind, especially when it comes to this. Because now, if I tell you, cool, out of 100 people, 5 will probably be qualified to buy your services. Now, you're going to get 100 people to be interested in what you do. And then you're going to spend all of your time on those 5 people that you know are qualified. And you're going to be happy with that because you're like, okay, cool. Maybe we can aim at 10, right? Maybe we can be above average. We can try to attract even better people, right? Because if this is on a universal audience, we want to try and maximize that as much as possible. But now, if you get 10 qualified people out of 100, you will be like, I'm doing amazing compared to the average of what you would normally expect, right? The second point is massive action and speed. Now, this is actually something very interesting that I want to share because we mentioned how we were able to scale the business really fast, especially in the past few months. But I want to break down really the timeline of how this went through, right? And how this happened. Because a lot of people and a lot of you give yourself too much time to act. You give yourself deadlines that are too later down in the future, or you don't even define deadlines. You're like, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z. It's like, when, right? And so I want to share this timeline because this is literally how it went down for us. Around the end of October, we were stuck. We were pretty much oscillating between 30 and 40K a month with our business, and we couldn't really get past that. So we're like, okay, cool. Let's find help. Let's seek help from someone that has more experience than us and that can really pinpoint what we're doing wrong. The moment we joined the program of this person, they were like, hey, I'm hosting a mastermind in London. It's next week. I don't know if you guys can actually make it, but if you can, pull up. 1 week. We literally had 1 week. We were like, you know what? We really want to make this work. We just flied out. We made it work, right? And we got to this event. We talked to him one-on-one as well, because this is another thing. Like also, as a coach, you will also probably know this full well. It's like you will give more attention to certain people that put in massive action. And so at the same time, if you're getting coached by someone else, be the person that is willing to go to that extent to be the best possible student, right? Put in the effort. And because of that, he saw the potential in us as well. We got an extra one-on-one session, let's say, with him, right? And he really broke down our entire business, and he was like, okay, this is your problem. And the moment that we left London, we applied everything. In the time span of 1 single month, we literally applied everything. We hired 2 new people in our business, and not only that, but we also hosted our first in-person mastermind, right? And this was really interesting, because when we were there at that event, he was like, do you see the power of having people in person here and building the community? Do you know how powerful this will be also for the content? I have a room full of people that's willing to listen to me. How does that position me, right? And he was like, I invite all of you guys to host your own mastermind. Do you know how many people did it? Just us, pretty much, spot on. And not only that, we did it in literally 3 weeks. We literally messaged all of our clients who were like, we're hosting a mastermind at the end of the month in Cyprus. Nobody was in Cyprus. They had all to fly from different places. Like a lot of you are actually here in London, right? And we literally managed to pull that off as well. And it was also really funny because November we were still not satisfied. We literally doubled the business, but we already had in mind after having the speech with this coach as well of like, we want to achieve 100K a month. And we were genuinely not happy. When we met back in November, it was super funny because right after our event, we met with him and we were talking and we're like, we failed. We failed. we said we were going to hit 100K. We just hit 80. We failed. He was like, guys, you doubled the business. Like, it's okay. And then December, as a consequence of also all of this, also all of the content that we were able to produce from the mastermind, all of the connection that we created, and because we were able to act so fast, we managed to literally 4x the business from when we started in October, right? And so a lot of people would see that, and especially if they're starting at these ranges even, like 30, 40K a month, and they will be like, well, I want to hit 100K, and how long do you want to hit it? 6 months, a year, maybe, something like that, right? It's like, why? Why not do it in 1 month? And the truth is that if you put in your mind the idea of, I want to hit it in 1 month, maybe you will not hit it like we did, right? But you will be much closer than if you just give yourself 6 months. And you're like, I'm going to take my time, right? And literally, we've seen this. We have become the biggest case studies of this guy. And not only the biggest case study, but in the fastest time possible. Like, nobody in his program made this much. And not only that, nobody ever did it in 2 months. Because of how fast we acted on all of this. And I want to let that sink in for a second. Because what I also want all of you to understand is time is the only limited asset that we have on this planet, literally, right? And so it's like, put some urgency on yourself. Now, the third point is high ticket versus low ticket. This is a conversation that we also have with Narshin, but I think it's very applicable for everybody. And the moment in which we ditched completely anything that was low ticket and we just went full on high ticket, everything changed for us. And every single time that we talk about this, especially to someone that already has a low ticket product, they're like, well, but there's many people that still make money from a low ticket, right? We talked about this with a lot of our clients as well. Now, here's the thing. No coach, I can promise you this, because we are surrounded by this type of people every single day, no coach with 5,000 to 10,000 followers ever got rich with low ticket, while many do with high ticket. If you have a really good offer, really good content, you're attracting the right type of people, you don't even need that many followers to make a lot of money. I promise you, we've seen people pull off crazy things. We were at a mastermind before this one that I was mentioning also. We've seen a guy that is running some ads, right, but nothing crazy. He has 2,500 followers. 2,500 followers, okay? He makes more than 100K a month, right? Okay, let that sink in again for 1 second. Just to really make you guys think and shift your perspective. Why? Because he sells high ticket, okay? Now, some of the objections that we usually get on this, and so I just want to solve also this, is, well, but high ticket doesn't work at scale. How can I work like one-on-one and like really sell my services to to a bunch of people to really get it to the point in which I have a business that's making 100K a month, 500K a month, $1 million a month. It's true, but only if you don't know how to build a team. Because if you actually have, and we're also going to talk about this in the next presentation, if you have a team in place and you set the right incentives also for them, you can build a business in which every single one also of your team members cares about your clients and still gets them amazing result. It doesn't have to be just you. And we've seen this. We've seen this because also some of the programs that we're in, right, are people that are very advanced in their career, and so they can't really just be doing one-on-one with every single one of the clients that they have. When you have 200 people in your program, that's not possible. And so we're going to talk about a little bit of that incentive also that you can give to other people that will manage your program for you and that will still get your clients amazing results. Because of course, our goal is still to help people. We don't want to scale something and get it to the point in which we just don't care about people and they're just transactions. That's like the last thing that we will possibly want, right? And the second thing that we've seen, and again, we also talked about it with Nashin because we were making the example of another public speaking coach, is there's people that make money with low ticket. There's people that make a lot of money with low ticket, right? But the truth is, if you actually analyze the people that have lower ticket programs that make a lot of money, they have huge personal brands, usually. They have huge personal brands. We're talking millions and millions of followers. And at that point, then yes, they are able to scale to a point in which they can literally make millions even with low ticket products. Now, more often than not, these people will still make more money if they sold high ticket. But the problem is that when you have such a huge following, okay, and so, I wish it to all of you, if you get to 20 million followers, then that might make sense if you really don't want to handle operations at that large scale, right? Because of course, if you have 20 million followers and you need to have the appointment setting processes, you need to have the sales processes, the sales calls, and a bunch of coaches, you will probably need to have a very big team to be able to handle something that will be high ticket compared to something that's low ticket, that's maybe just a course that you're selling, right? But I would argue that they would still make more money if they were actually willing to go to that extent of building the proper team, okay? Now, the fourth is extreme self-accountability. And for this one, how we approach literally everything in our business is that everything is our own responsibility, which also means that we have control over it, right? The moment in which we start pointing the finger at someone else or an external cause, an external circumstance, that's when we lose control. And that's how we approach it, literally for everything. If content doesn't work, it's my fault. It's not the algorithm. There's something that I can do differently. There's something that I can do better. The same thing goes for client results. This was actually something that we were talking about yesterday night with some of you. Client results are my responsibility. It doesn't matter even the level of support, right? Even if you don't have a coaching service, even if it's a course, right? Even if it's a do-it-yourself, price should not justify the level of results that your clients get, right? And when it comes to the accountability in that sense on ourselves, for us, it's literally the most important part of our program for ourselves, in the sense of it doesn't matter to me if somebody joins my program and then they disappear. They stop replying to messages. They don't do anything of what we told them to do, right? That's still my fault. It doesn't matter. Even if I literally did everything in my power in that sense, it's still my fault because in my opinion, I could have done something differently to motivate them and to actually make them take action. Even if they disappear, right? We do coaching at the end of the day. We're coaches. Like half of the work will inevitably be on their side. We can guide them, we can give them all of the instruction in the world, but it's like, if they just disappear, most coaches are like, well, what can I do? Like they just disappear. They don't even reply to my messages anymore. To me, it's still our fault. It's still our fault because we could have done something better to make sure that this person would show up every single day until they actually got the result. And same thing goes for the team performance. Oh my God, how many times have I seen this as well? Like people being like, oh, I have bad team members, or like they are not acting on how I would want them to do, right? It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility as the person that's managing the team. 100%. Find a way to motivate them better. If they are really someone that should not be in your team, be willing to fire them and hire someone else. But it's your responsibility. Like also to align the incentives, to make sure that they have everything in their power to show up. We had this actually recently with one of our team members in which it was generally not working out, right? So we were to the point of almost firing them. And I had a conversation with this person, and there were a lot of things that they were doing wrong, a lot of things that even with the feedback, active feedback, and making sure that they had everything in place, they were still not doing, and they were still not acting to the level that we want them to act at. And still, I was like, tell me also everything that I can do on my side. Like, is there anything possible that I did wrong or anything that we can do better to give you all of the tools so that you can actually act at your maximum potential? What is there that we can do differently, right? All accountability. And moving on to the next one, start from what doesn't scale. This is tricky because more often than not, and this is a great example also for a lot of you that want to get started with content, you will try to start making content and you will realize how long it takes, right? So you start making content and you realize how time consuming it is. I think a lot of you, Faith, for example, right? You're just starting out with us as well, so you can see this firsthand. You're like, you start, you script your first videos, you film your first videos, and you're like, oh my God, it takes me like 2 days just to figure out how to make one single video, right? And the same exact thing goes also with coaching, right? And when we first started the one-on-one, we were like, it's taking so much of our time, so much of our work. How can this possibly scale, right? But you have to start with what doesn't scale to be able to learn and build the systems over it so that you then systemize everything over time, right? So you build systems over time to make it sustainable. This is also what we teach our clients when it comes to content. When they start, we tell them, we set the expectations straight into this is going to take a lot of time at the beginning. We're going to systemize it over time. We're going to start batching all of these tasks, and it's going to become easier and easier over time. But you need to embrace that learning curve. You need to embrace that learning curve. Because if you get started, for example, with content, sticking to that example, right? You get started, you make your first video, and you're like, this took me 2 days. How can I post every single day? It's physically not possible. If you don't embrace that learning curve that there is at the beginning and that resistance that you have to get to the point in which you really build a system and you're able to actually post consistently, then you're going to just fall back on old habits and not really post anything. And another thing is, especially when you want to build something with your business, when you want to start, for example, your coaching program, you look at someone that already has another successful program, you might be demotivated because you will be like, how is it possible? How can I get there? How can I start? I don't have this old infrastructure. But you don't want to look at what people that you aspire to be like are doing now. You want to look at what they did to get there. Also for us, when we first started, all of our content was not properly organized. We didn't have great systems. We were just working really hard every single day to make sure that we could put out videos. We eventually got over time to build a system, but that's not how we started. And the same goes for everybody. Also, when you start a coaching program, the same approach goes for that. It's like when they start, they don't have 10 coaches to help them out. That's normal. And you want to look at how they started, not where they are at right now, because otherwise you will get overwhelmed. The same thing we were talking about Hormozi right now, right? If you try to imitate Hormozi for the content, you're just gonna shoot yourself because like the guy posts like 30 pieces of content a day. So if you look at him now and you're like, okay, if I want to be like Hormozi, I need to post 30 times a day, it's going to be impossible. You're never gonna get started because before you build that infrastructure to be able to put out so much content, it's going to take you years, right? And so get started with the same way that they did. If you look back, Alex was probably posting a couple of times per day, 1 to 2 times per day on whatever social media platform he did. The videos were probably not that great, but he started, and then he built the systems over time. So, bonus tip, this is actually a really great one. Start with imperfect conditions. It will just mean that when conditions get better, it will be easier. This is amazing, in my opinion. This is one of the best mindset shift when it comes to this point. If you right now want to start to make content, and you think to yourself, I'm too busy, I already have too much on my plate, amazing. Start making the content. Because if you want to do it on the long run, right, when you will be more free, it will just be easier to do. And so if your goal is to do that consistently anyway, if your goal is like, I'm going to post content for the rest of the year, for at least 1 year, and right now you're like, I don't want to get started now though because I'm too busy, get started now when you're too busy, because then when you will get free, it will just be a piece of cake. This is how we started, okay? Little motivational moment. This was literally us in my granddad's house with no heating, because it was literally a room that they would not use, with just like piles of books and old stuff. And this is literally where Create Content Club started. Does this seem like a fancy setup? We were literally holding the lights with whatever stools we could find, right?
How old is that
How old is that project?
2 years. So that was November, well, probably a little bit later. We are already getting started, so 2023, probably December 2023. So makes you think. Imperfect conditions. Start with imperfect conditions. This is by far not the best setup possible, right? Number 6, always be input focused. Because everybody has a goal. So that's not the differentiating factor that makes you achieve it. If just setting the goal was enough to achieve it, then everybody would have it, right? So it doesn't matter what the outcome that you have in mind is. You need to focus on the inputs. So for your personal brand, everybody wants more followers, okay? Everybody wants more leads. That doesn't mean that you will actually get them. So what are you actively doing to get there? How do you measure it? With the inputs, not the outputs. Like, it doesn't matter if you want to get certain amount of leads, if you want to get certain amount of followers. And so when we show our profiles, what we like to point out at is this number, not this number. Because on this, I don't have control. This is a consequence of the inputs that I put in. I don't have control on the number of followers. I cannot change it. What I can change is this number, the number of posts that I actually put out. And so you really need to focus on the inputs. Everything that you build in terms of your systems and your goals should be input-based. It will not be, I want to get to this amount of leads. It will be how many messages I will send per day. It will not be how many followers I want to get. It will be how many posts I will put out. And so when my goal is I will put out 7 posts per week, that I can achieve. If my goal is 100,000 followers, it's like I have control on that, but just from the inputs, not by thinking about the 100,000 followers. These were the principles that we wanted to share. All of this, again, I know that they might seem a little bit abstract and they might seem like not as applicable as everything else that we shared. And we kind of included it to wrap up this whole parts of the presentation. But I really want all of you to let these principles sink in, because genuinely everything that changed the most for us was this. Like the tactical, the applicable, all of the strategies are cool, but more often than not, they are not what gets you the outsized returns. It's when you really shift your mindset and you start seeing things from a different point of view, from a different light. All of these 6 mindset shifts that I wanted to share, that's really when things click.
All right, guys. So in this last presentation, I'm going to give you the exact roadmap and our plan to scale to 300,000 a month right now. And I do want to tell you something and make it super clear. If you're not close to this number yet, this presentation will be even more important for you. And there's a clear reason why. Because if you apply what you learn in this presentation, you have each pillar in place before you even scale. You'll remove all bottlenecks before they even appear. And you'll be set up to scale hard when momentum hits. Okay, so I promise you that if you have the right foundation, you can scale harder than everyone else in your industry. And to prove my point, there's just one quick example that I want to give. Nicole, I'll put you on the spot. I still remember when we first started Create Content Club, it took us a long time to start making some money from the content we were creating. Why? Because at first we were creating content without being intentional about the monetization aspect of things, okay? And Nicola recently started working with us like 2 months ago, and already the second month for him was more than 20,000 in cash collected. The second month ever of starting a business, an Instagram page, everything. Now, for us to get to that point, it took us multiple months. So I want to reveal everything that we're doing right now to scale to 300,000, because if you start doing this, you will be able to scale harder than everyone else because you have everything in place, okay? So there's 3 levers that will allow you to scale. There needs to be fulfillment that doesn't get stuck with people joining, monetization that is not fully dependent on new sales, and marketing that uses clients as your engine, okay? I'm going to explain to you exactly how we're going to do that. So if we can start from point 1, which is fulfillment that doesn't get stuck. Now, there's a big problem when you start first doing coaching or in general delivering a service, which at first you're able to maintain coaching, delivery, fulfillment yourself. But with time, you will get to a point where as the founder, you cannot take care of everything, okay? But as you scale, fulfillment cannot be dependent on you, quality must increase, not dropping, and results must become even more predictable with the right systems. So how do we do this? The first step will be for you eventually to start hiring coaches, okay? This is a non-negotiable, and it allows you to separate delivery from growth, right? Now, I feel like there's a big, let's say, there's not a great way to see coaches and people helping them delivering many times, because people think that automatically the performance and the results you're able to get to your clients will dramatically go down. But if you do this in the right case, if you do this in the right way, it's not actually the case, okay? So for us, specifically for our program, in the future, as we move forwards in the month, we will hire a coach that will specifically be there just to review the research and the script of our students, and someone that is only there to review all of the edits of our client, okay? So I want you to realize something. In your company, there's probably someone that is already doing something for you inside of the company. So for example, we have our editor that edits all of our videos. We don't edit our video ourselves, okay? So if you really think about it, who's better at giving advice to my clients? Me, that I'm not even editing our videos now, or my editor that is responsible to editing every single piece of content that goes out, right? And you need to think about what this looks like for you. What are the most consuming tasks in your delivery that you're doing for your clients, but for your business, you're not? It might be someone that is already working with you, like a VA, which is responsible of organizing all of your procedures. It might be an editor that is doing your videos, okay? You can really think about it, of course, for your niche and what your offer this will look like. But I promise you many times, you have a person that's already in your team that does a better job at you at doing that specific task. And if you put in contact your clients with this person that is doing such an amazing job for you, now the delivery will become even better and will be scalable. Because right now, when you sell your offer, you're not gonna say you just get access to me, you're gonna get access to me and my team that build this entire thing, right? So a lot of people are scared because they think about, client success manager, I just pass a random client success manager to a client. Hey, let's hope they take care of everything. No, you need to give them access to your actual team, okay? And the way you make it perform is you need to give them a base pay, but more importantly, a performance incentives, okay? So incentives are tied to specific dream outcomes that are defined into the sales and the onboarding process, client renewals, upsells, and as a consequence, if clients win, coaches win. Like many times, we just think about, I'm gonna hire CSM, client success manager, and then I'm going to ask them to do everything for me and give them a base pay. Why would they be incentivized of getting your clients' results? They're not. But if we give them a base pay, and then they can earn a lot more money the moment where they actually make our clients happy, then we unlock the game. Because now they actually make more money, which at the end of the day is what people want when they're inside of a company, right? And it's tied to the results that we're getting for our clients. So imagine, during the sales call and the onboarding, we define exactly what is the goal of someone. It might be unlocking 50,000 a month. It might be getting 100,000 followers. And the moment when someone hits that, the coach gets a massive bonus for that. Like how much trust will that build with a client? And also how much more effort would they put in the delivery, okay? This is super important. Now, for the coach to operate correctly, you need to build these two things, okay? The first one is a centralized knowledge base. So we use Notion, but you can use whatever you want. And in here, we need to give to the coaches all of the information that they need. There needs to be an onboarding doc with all the information. There needs to be a clearly defined dream outcome for the client. Because I promise you, we have a lot of clients that some of them are interested into more like views awareness, some of them more leads and business. So every single client can be different, okay? And you need to include all the recorded calls over time that you have with that client. Because if your coach doesn't have crystal clear context on the exact position of your clients, what they want to achieve, what it has been done so far, how they're gonna be able to help them, okay? And the second thing, this allows you the coaches to watch, to learn, and to self-correct, okay? And this compounds quality. And then the second thing are SOPs, okay? Standard operating procedures, okay? This should be there for the entire client journey. So all the steps that they need to go through with you. the reviews of what they're currently doing, if they're doing correct or not, and also the communication standards. If someone is your coach, okay, and it's working with you, how do they need to communicate with the clients, okay? If you don't have procedures for each of these individual things, the coach will not be able to do a good job, okay? So the coaches are trained on making the client navigate through all of this and making sure that they're actually sticking to the schedule, they're actually doing the work. And remember, guys, they are making money, they are being happy by getting client results. That's the biggest thing, okay? If you set up this correctly with these two things, you will actually have coaches that care about your clients, okay? The second thing that I want to tell you about that will truly allow you to scale the business faster than everyone else in your industry is monetization that is not depending on sales. And what do I mean by that? You need to get the most, in a positive way, of course, out of your clients. And what that means is many times they're super happy, they need more help, maybe they want to continue working with you, but you don't have systems to set that up, right? And if we do this in the right way, the lifetime value of our clients will increase so much, okay? So the first thing is introducing monthly recurring revenue services. What this means is we are a coaching program, but in the future, we're planning to get to 300,000 a month to having an editing management service, because a lot of our clients, they don't really have an editor, or they have an editor that is doing an okay job, but they want to get to the next level. As of right now, that's a bottleneck in our delivery. It's like we can train their editor, but sometimes that doesn't go as fast as we would like to, okay? And same thing for example, a VA management that can help them with the research and the scripting. Like, guys, I need you to think about the MRR services in your business as something that will actually benefit your clients. If you guys are thinking about it as, it's just to get some more money out of the clients, you're thinking about it completely wrong. Like, this to us is a bottleneck. If someone has a bad editor in place, we can train them as much as possible, but that slows down the process so much. Imagine we have editors that are ready to be implemented, we manage them, and it's like, there you go. Tomorrow it can start, it's already fully trained. How much faster will we get our clients' results? Okay? And I want you to think about this for you, okay? So what does this look like for you? What is something my clients always ask me that I cannot help them with yet? Okay? You can put this sentence down, think about it, but if you can create a monthly recurring revenue service that you can offer on top of this, you will get, of course, a lot more money for each of your clients, but more importantly, you will get them more results and they will be way, way happier, okay? Now, the second thing is I want you to start running a quarterly affiliate campaign. This can literally be, every time you run it, it can be a record month for you, okay? So this is a community-only affiliate push, and you need to give them a reason why, a real incentive. So first thing, if you guys are not getting your clients' results, don't even think about this, okay? This is where people are super happy working with you, and it's like, okay, how can I get more people in that would be recommended by my clients because I want to expand the business, okay? You need to give them a reason why. So you need to use a payout structure that incentivizes them to bring a lot more people in that specific month, okay? So this is something that you can run every 3 months because scarcity creates record months, scarcity creates actual actions, okay? And this is just an example. Of course, it would purely depend on your offer, your price point, and what they do. But if your clients are happy with you and you're giving them a reason to recommend you to some more people to potentially make good money for them, that will be such a no-brainer for them, okay? If you do it every single month, it will start to become desperate and we never want to get there. But it's once every 3 months, we're like, oh, okay, we're actually running an affiliate campaign. Usually we pay $1,000, $1,500 for one single referral because of our percentage. Well, if you bring me one this month, I'll give you 2.5, 2.6, 3.9. Imagine if you do this consistently, how much money can you generate without getting new sales and new sales and new sales in the pipeline? And if your clients are happy, right? I think last month was still a 6-figures month for us. 70% of our sales came from referrals. Because people are happy with our service, so they love recommending it to other people. But if you're intentional with this, it's going to perform so much better, okay? And then the third thing that I want you to do is having a clear upsell structure, okay? So when a client hits a big win, and of course it really depends on what that looks like in your industry, in your service, when momentum is the highest, then the selling will be the easiest. So again, you should not upsell just something for the sake of it, but if you can go to the next one, after a major client win, you can do a couple of actions. You can either offer a yearly renewal. Let's say your program is 6 months. Let's say I work with someone in the first video, I get them like 2 million views, okay? If I give them a compelling enough offer and I'm like, did you notice what we were able to do in just one video? Like we can extend this thing. If you're interested in it, I can give you like a little bit of a discount on it. What do you say? Like you can immediately increase the LTV of a client just like that, potentially doubling it, okay? You can offer a higher ticket. We were talking to Darius and Vio yesterday about this, right? It's like they have a package where they offer like 20 videos a month or 30 videos a month, let's say. And 20 videos a month as a content agency, of course, it's lower ticket. And sometimes people want to start with a safer option. Imagine they get the client to like 10,000, 20,000 followers in the first few weeks of working together. And they talk to the client, it's like, okay, it's going amazing. That's great to see. If we want to use this momentum to our advantage, it would be amazing to switch to the 30 videos a month structure instead of the 20, so we can capitalize on this momentum and traffic that we're generating. If someone is happy with the results, why would they say no? Right? You're offering them more of what's already working, okay? And there's a clear reason why you cannot do this if it's not after a big win, because you need to give them a reason to actually upgrade, renew, and so on, okay? So this could be offering a clearly renew, offering a higher ticket, and this increase the LTV instantly of the client, okay? Now, the second thing that I want to talk to you about is marketing that uses clients as the engine, okay? And what I mean by that is you need to build a wall of proof. The more we move forward, the more the skepticism of people is an all-time high, okay? So the difference between someone that gets a lot of clients and someone that doesn't is not how cool the program sounds anymore, is how much proof are they getting with their program, okay? So the first thing that you should do, which is such an easy implementation, but I promise you completely changes the way you deliver results and the feeling that your clients have, is you need to connect your clients in a simple community and build a wins channel, okay? Because imagine this. This is just like a few people, like Nicole is here, random screenshot. This is Charlie Hill's growth. Her VA was posting about it. Yeah, sure, so you can show how it looks like. It's simply like we host it on Discord, but we have a wins channel that everyone has access to. And every single time someone gets the results, they simply post it in here. And you can scroll in here, and what I want you to imagine, we cannot scroll in here, you're blocked. Yeah, I'll just continue a second. Like what it will do, which I actually put in the next slide. What this does, which is super, super powerful, is every single time that happens, it builds a confirmation inside of your client's mind that they made the right choice, and you're actually making them aware of what your offer does, okay? So yeah, if it's a simple chat with wins where people post. If you go 1 second back to the presentation, the next one, if you really think about it, your clients will be sold on you each time a new win gets posted. It's a reconfirmation that it's like, oh, people that invested in them, like I invested, are getting amazing results, are happy. So to a certain degree, if you can go to the next slide, the dynamic completely shifts. It went from you having to prove yourself to your clients every single day to almost them starting to prove themselves to you. Think about it. If they're in a community where they can see all the other people winning, and they see like a lot of people winning and getting results with the same exact access to you, resources and everything, what that will do, which is true, is they will make them realize that probably they're not doing enough. Probably there's still something that they're missing and they need to implement harder and faster if they want to get results that our clients are getting. Because the moment where you don't have this community, you're making your clients isolated in the process. And it can also be very scary for them. Because it's like mentally they can be thinking like, oh, but like I knew they have other clients, like where are they at? What are they currently doing? But if we connect them all together, we build a sense of community like we did today and yesterday, and we also show them what other people are achieving with us, that will really shift this dynamic, okay? The second thing, which is going to be huge moving forward, is documentary style proof videos, okay? So process is much more stronger than outcome, and this can sell at scale. So let me tell you what I mean by that. You know the classic testimonial when you record a video with a client and you're like, so how was it like working with me, man? Right? It was cool. We got amazing results. All right, beautiful. That's super, super boring, and it kind of seems forced, okay? So something that some pioneers in the coaching program, in the coaching and in general, like services industry are doing now, they are starting to create documentaries rather than just testimonials. And what that means is every single time you jump on an onboarding, you use it as leverage. So every onboarding call should be recorded, structured, and designed to become proof. Because that way, we combine in one video the onboarding with them, and after that, the testimonial. So imagine now, instead of just seeing like someone that says like, oh, yeah, we got amazing results, they can see the first time you onboarded them and you spoke to them and you talked about the results and everything that you wanted to achieve, and then that actually happening, right? Like no one does this. It's like, it's always, yeah, we worked together for 6 months. It's like, can I see where they started from? Because, I mean, also Noshim was saying it before, is the transformation that sells as a story. It's not just the after. Imagine watching, I don't know, a Disney movie and the first scene is the princess getting married, or, you know, the guy fighting the dragon and, you know, the story finishes. How much more boring that would be, right? That's what testimonials are essentially, if you think about it. But if we show the before, the struggles, what was not working for them, and we also can see them like physically how they were at the beginning and after we work together, that's gonna sell so much more than a classic testimonial, okay? Now, again, also Alessio was saying it before, if you do the things to an extent that others don't want to do, you will get better results. So if it's a client that you truly believe you can help, and you know they're gonna have a crazy success story with you, meet them in person. Get them a ticket, you fly, you can use it as an excuse to visit a new place. If you're able to do this in person, it's going to be so much more powerful. Like even imagine just like looking at this presentation, but I'm in a Google Meet. It's gonna be completely different, right? Now, if you cannot really do that for whatever reason, there's no flights that day, that month, that year, right? If online, use something like riverside.com, at least you can have very high quality footage when you record the onboarding and the testimonial, okay? Because Google Meet, Zoom doesn't really give you that 4K quality, okay? Perfect. And then the third thing that we're gonna start implementing in the future are mastermind with a stage, okay? What I mean by that is our clients attend and they get stage time and they get content recorded for them. So what does that mean? That we're connecting all of our clients, we're building a community, and we're giving them a stage so each one of you guys can actually talk on stage and deliver what you're good at. So we're building a crazy network and we're all learning stuff, but at the same time, we're recording content for them, right? So they have it and they're ready to post. We're gonna take care of the cameras, everything. Like how powerful that is, right? And no one's doing this, guys, okay? So how can we build network and at the same time give even more of assets marketing for our clients, okay? Great. Now, the fourth thing that I want you to do, and I think I was replying to a question yesterday, and I talked about this, is I need you guys to build a second channel, okay? So the second channel will be the database for your wall of proof. So you have your personal brand, okay, where you're sharing your content, your value, everything, but in your bio, I want you to put founder of and create the second page, which is your business. And in here, you only post wins, screenshot, client moments, client documentaries, the behind the scenes. There's not really teaching, it's just evidence. So at any point, I can simply click on the second account and I can see hundreds of posts of clients winning, getting results, working with me, okay? So we're not relying on something, I don't know, like Trustpilot or external. We're actually building our own wall of proof. Of course, people can still go to these platforms, but how much more powerful it is for you to host this thing, okay? So this is the entire shift that will make them, So this is the entire shift that will make you go from, oh, just look at us, we're so cool, this is what we do, to look at my clients winning. and your clients become the brand, right? Of course, it's your personal brand, and of course, it's your image, but the moment where people can genuinely get to know your clients, the achievements, the program is gonna sell themselves, okay? It's gonna sell itself. So this was the biggest lessons that we learned in the mastermind that we just attended in Sweden, and also everything that we're gonna start applying to get to 300,000 a month with our business. We have some time for the questions. So yeah, Taiba?
Right, so I have two questions. One, what's your second channel? Because I don't think I follow it.
Yeah, no, there's not.
Okay. And also, you know the timeline that Alessio gave before?
Yeah.
Where he said that once they onboarded a appointment center, you scaled quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday you said that it took 3 months to train him.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't really fit the timeline because you scaled really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
With that.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the appointment setter in our team before, but we were personally training him. So then we hire 2 people to train him even faster, and that's when we started getting a lot of results. But Jonathan, our appointment setter, has been there for a while. Yeah, that's why. And the wall of proof thing, the second channel, at the beginning of this presentation, many of these things we're actively already working on it. I feel these things we haven't implemented yet, right? So like my whole presentation was like telling you things before we even do it so you guys can be ahead of the curve. Yeah.
Actually, I don't have a question. I just have a small announcement, which is to say that I have to leave, unfortunately. We're having a family lunch on my son's 28th birthday. But I'd just like to say thank you very much. It's some really interesting food for thought, which I am going to process over the next few days. And thank you, Nasheen, for inviting me along as well. It's been great to see you. And if anybody'd like to be in touch and isn't already connected on LinkedIn with me, then please, I'd be happy to hear from you.
He just
I'm sorry I'm missing the pictures because that was what I was really hoping to hear. But,
he just scripted a content. There was like a hook, a call to action. That was a masterclass.
How do you split the responsibilities between the 2 founders, and do you both have specific KPIs within the company?
Yeah, that was actually the first thing that we did before like the big scale that we had. Before we were doing everything together. It was like, we gotta film content, that's 50% you do this, I do that. But it's like of the same task. We were doing everything together. Then we sat down, and that was actually a big reason that allowed us to scale fast. And we were like, okay, what are you naturally good at because of your personality and your skills, and what am I good at? So with time, we actually split it, the responsibilities. So Alessio is responsible mainly for marketing and operations. So mostly like the back end, the behind the scenes, building the systems, landing pages, and also marketing when it comes to scripting the content, setting up the camera, recording us. The recording is the only thing that we still do together, 50-50, because two-faced personal brand. And I mainly take care of the sales and the fulfillment. So more the relationship with the client, both in the sales process and the delivery of the service. It gives me, of course, some help in the delivery what's needed, but that's kind of like how we split it. We set KPIs at the beginning of each month based on the goal that we want to hit. Okay, so especially with our appointment setter being super dialed in, we can literally reverse engineer the exact amount of views, leads that we need to get, the conversation opened. So at every single week on Monday we meet and we know exactly if we're on track, if we're behind, if we're ahead of the curve, and so on. Yeah, Faith?
Yeah, a question about like the onboarding calls.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of creating that with all your strategy.
Yeah.
So let's say you're a coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the onboarding call is quite intimate. Like you're talking about coaching and your dreams and like all the like whatever's holding them back, limiting beliefs, trauma. How do you do that if you're like in the personal development space? You're not in like the okay, here's your Instagram strategy. How would you suggest doing that?
Yeah, of course, that's an interesting question. And when it comes to like, I know also for testimonies, I've heard many times for our clients saying like, for example, testimonials, some people don't want to appear. Like I heard these things before. Something that we noticed is, and I know some people will naturally say no, like you cannot have 100% of them saying yes. But one thing that you notice is, if you convince them, just like a few of them, to go through this process, maybe the more like open-minded, the more extroverted, that will become a marketing asset for you. So the moment where you start having the first 2-3 client documentaries out, there will be people that will join because of those documentaries. And when that happens, they are already sold in the process and they know how it's like working with you. And they're seeing themselves when they see the documentary being that person, the before and the after. So the hardest part of that is to start doing it. But when you start using it as marketing assets, you will start attracting people that naturally want to be part of the next documentary, right? So it's like, in your case, there will probably be, I don't know, a 20-30% that says yes to it, okay? But you just need 2 to 3 people. And the people that will join because of those resources will be so much more open-minded of being part of this process that gets documented.
And how would you, sorry, I'm just gonna pick it up. How would you like film it in an authentic way? Because I see you guys are in the position of authority. Like, how would you film it so it doesn't feel staged, right? Like, obviously it's not gonna be like a podcast setting. Like, how would you feel it so it looks intimate and you feel like you're in the room but without being intrusive?
100%. So the first thing would be, of course, picking the right environment, the right space. Okay, so I would never have it in something like a conference room or something. I would have it like in a cozy living room environment. Some candles, sitting on the couch, like having a nice conversation, right? And then the camera, of course, will be there, but it's like it will never be, oh, so we're here today with. No, it's like you're genuinely having a conversation with the clients, and you just have a camera capturing the moment. But both the environment and the way you treat the conversation needs to be very intimate. We had client interviews and client breakdowns, and we filmed in person, quite a few at this time. And it's like we always do it in a way where it's like, okay, don't even look at it. We're having a conversation. We're actually going through the onboarding. I'm documenting the process, okay? The camera's not even there. And if you combine putting them in this right mindset plus the right environment, it should help a ton.
I asked you this question before, and
Yeah.
you said, if you tell them that I'm doing this recording, do you mind if I record the call? Because it's going to be really helpful for me to look into your case more. So you're making it about them.
Yeah.
And then they're more like, so okay, that makes sense. Record our
Yeah.
recording call.
That's correct. That's correct. Now, that is one advice that at the time, super correct, but I told you when it comes to the sales process. So that is something that we do for the sales call, where some people don't record the sales call because they're worried about, or the client won't like the fact that I'm recording. You need to make it about them. Every single time someone doesn't want to do something, you need to reframe it in a way that's about them. That's, for us, is really like that, because we record all of our sales call, because in the sales call, we actually get to know the person, we actually get to understand their goals, and we start planning out loud the strategy. So before the onboarding call, if I wouldn't have the transcription of everything that happened in the call, it would be extremely hard for me to build a tailor-made strategy for them. So I make it about them, and I have 100% of people telling me it's not a problem at all for you to record. Yes, Shirley?
Yeah, and also one thing I noticed, if you tell them that they will have access to the recording, and
Yeah, that too.
because there's going to be a lot of information
Yeah.
that's going to be shared, and in the moment there's so much. So this way they have access to it, and you have access to it, and they usually say yes, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, also saying that helps a lot.
There might be a difference between recording the call for this and then using what have been said in the call
Yeah.
to be publicly.
Yeah,
posted.
exactly.
I
So,
have worked with
yeah.
on this problem, which
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the sales call, like, we actually never publish them. It's like genuinely for us. So that's why we say that. If you do a client documentary, you need to make them understand this. Like, it would be recorded, so that way we can create a journey of from the moment we started to where we're gonna get to the result that you just told me. But it's like, also see it in their point. Like, if I have a coach telling me this is the first time I speak to them, I'm like, man, this guy's confident, right? They want to create a documentary about the success that we're gonna have together. Let's do it, right? It's always about how you frame it. Yeah.
because the plan you share is great, and it's actually a strategy plan.
Mhm.
So that's great. One of the things I was a little bit wondering is how to control cost in this case, because all of this is about creating more revenue, which is great.
Yeah.
But then hiring, a customer success manager,
Yeah.
putting some incentive into that. All of this is cost.
Yeah.
So how do you balance to be sure
Yeah.
that the growth of the revenue
100%.
is actually
Yeah. So see it about this way. First of all, you give them a base pay, which is like, of course, they cannot start, but it's not like you're paying them 3, 4, 5, 6, because then it's like they don't actually have, the base pace is super, super important to crack, because if you do it too high, then they don't care about the incentives, right? So it needs to be good enough for them to at least have tranquility, but they need to strive for the results that they get for the clients. Because the moment where you set up that way, they make money when they get client results. So of course you pay them a bonus, but if you remember, when there's a client win that happens, there's the upsell, there's the renewal, there's the affiliate, right? So it's like, yes, you pay them a bonus every time they get a client result, but a client result triggers the whole thing that brings you more people inside of the program.
Yeah, but I got some points that you need to keep the results, the profitability of the whole thing, and that the growth that you get is not actually diluted in terms of revenue. And it will depend on where you are into the business and your own scaling journey. But it is true that it's important to keep both in mind. There are moments of growth where costs will be higher than the revenue, but then at some point it needs to go back to.
Yeah. The thing is, like, there's so many, like when someone will start like getting results and winning it as a client, there's so many things that can happen. Like, and you just like them recommending you to like, just let's say you have a $5,000 ticket, and it's like the bonus for someone, like for your client, when they achieved a certain results for that person is like a $500 bonus, right? Like, you just need, let's say, it's like one person out of 10, right? To agree for like a referral after they're super happy, not even upgrading. Like, that's a very low estimate thing. So it's like, to me, it's very, very hard and complex that you will actually not be profitable from day one with this.